Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on a Wednesday evening as the drivers of the Wicked Racing League head to short track, home of that of New Hampshire, to tackle and see who can handle the 1 mile course. It's flat, it's gonna be fast, but the main thing, who can hold on? And we cannot wait to give you the coverage here tonight, as it is that of the Idealise 200 here tonight here at Homestead. And again, cannot wait to give you the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me is Zach Hall. And Zach, race number 4 is upon us. And how are you feeling headed into tonight?
Well, Sam, I'm feeling very interested in how this race is going to play out. This New Hampshire Motor Speedway, like you said, a short track, but 1 mile in length, has very long straightaways. It's like an enlarged Martinsville, but it's definitely got a different little bit of a finesse level to it than what you would have at the concrete baking of that track. This is asphalt all the way around, but it's still one of the more tracks that you have to have a lot of finesse at. So these drivers are going to have to really work that throttle and work the wheel as they come out of these corners. And not only that, they may be looking at shifting here tonight. That 5th to 4th gear level gear ratio is very, very close. So you can, get that feel that you want by shifting down a gear or just staying in the 4th gear. So we'll see which drivers elect to do that. But as they head into qualifying, it's going to be all about putting down the fast speeds.
As drivers for qualifying, they're going to have 2 laps to put down their fastest time, and they're also going to have 5 minutes to figure out when they want to go out on track to finish out those 2 laps. And as well, do not want to put yourself getting into the outside wall, spinning out. That will find ways to negate your time, and it will become invalidated. But hitting the course are some drivers that are excited to be out here. But Zach, there's also some names that are joining us for the first time this week. It's going to be that of Blaze Crawford as well as Brandon Zimmerman, 2 new additions, and it sounds like they're going to be the last 2 additions for this season. The roster is locked in. This is our field for the rest of the year.
That it is. This is going to be fun to see how their addition comes into this league, and we'll see what type of speed they bring in for sure. As definitely 2 guys that will be looking to perform well in their first ever race here at the Wicked Racing League, and what a track to do it on here in New Hampshire as we're watching these drivers look to go out and put down their lap times. Right here, you can see the 81 machine here of Steven Stippian. He's going to be looking to get it done here and see how fast his times can be around this 1 mile track. And I know it's a home track for Steven Stippian here, and he's definitely a driver to watch out for, I think, coming into this race.
Certainly a driver that's looking quick in the first lap. Going to be fast enough to take the pole, but will it hold? That's going to be the true question, because it was Alex Coffey that was the fastest during practice and going to be the true driver to watch out for in that 7 machine. And as well, going to be also that of Blaze Crawford looking quick. But that is Steven Stippian, hoping the speed will continue on. But Gavin Rogers taking the top post. Here comes the 81 for his time across the line. And that looks to be pretty solid for that of Steven Stippian, taking the pole by 0.03 of a second.
Looks like times have slowed down slightly from that practice session here as the rubber is built up on the track. The track has lost a ton of speed here as the times are much slower than what we've seen in the practice session, but Steven Stippian is still holding on to that position as the times continue to click through. Looks like Christopher Norris will slot himself up to 5th. Alex Coffey there, he's going to go to 3rd on the board. So Coffey, after being the fastest car in practice, not able to put down the fastest lap time here in qualifying.
Not able to do so at all is going to be that driver, as seeing the rest of the field trying to get themselves revved up and across the line. That's going to be the 57 of DeRoches, who's going to be hoping for a fast time. But a driver that's testing the skills, going to be seeing that of Tyler Dangler in that only top 15s machine. Going to be finishing out his 3rd lap for himself, hoping to bump up, and will bump up that of 23 positions. But again, Steven Stippian still top of the board by that of a 30.344. And here comes some drivers that are hoping for some magic. It's going to be that of Dakota Camper on screen, but Dakota's already finished up his time, just putting in some extra laps for this 43 machine.
It's a great time to get that practice. If you didn't feel like you were too comfortable, then you were definitely a driver that felt like you had to go out there and use these extra laps that you're available to. But here we go, we get to see a newcomer here. This is the 76 of Blaze Crawford. I'm interested to see what he can do. I think you're going to see some fast speed shown out of this 76 machine, and already on the first lap to the top of the board.
Yeah, and I was watching Blaze on the warm-up. He was taking it very slow. I believe he might have been doing a little bit of shenanigans of trying to get those brakes lit up, and so his tires were warmed up as well, taking it slow on that warm-up. And here we go. Will this second lap be any faster? 300s faster than Steven Stippian. Can he best his first lap? As it seems to be that second lap is the faster one of them all.
It's been faster for sure. I'm interested to see how much time he could pick up, if any, and boom, even more time. I mean, that's a 10th over the field right now. So a great showing already from Blaze Crawford. Like I said, I think he's going to show a good bit of speed. He's definitely known around the iRacing community.
Yeah, known around the iRacing community, and usually when we look at iRatings, that's something that kind of gives it base of experience for drivers, how long they've been racing, or just a range where drivers are running. That of Blaze Crawford, a 7,679 iRating, and Zach, that is hugely different from the rest of the field, who's averaging about that of 2,500. That's about at that of almost a 5,000 boost on the iRating level. So Blaze certainly the driver that could be coming in and shattering records joining this league.
I could see it happening for sure. I'd say monumental iRating for sure. I know he did very well, almost made it to the Coke Series even. So he's going to be a driver, like I said, to watch out for, man. He's going to be very, very fast. I believe he's part of Elliott Sadler Esports also. So he's with a tough group of drivers there and some really good ones to learn from too. I think, it's not only going to step up the field here. The drivers know they're going to have to step up to the challenge here. And this is going to be fun to watch because I think also, if I'm not mistaken, they got $100 on the line tonight too. So we'll see if anybody can go out there and take it from them.
It's a good race to be joining a league if you know there's cash on the line. As drivers are done with qualifying, they're done with practice. It's time for the real featured show. It's time for the drivers to get lined up for that of the New Hampshire race this evening, where they're going to be having 160 laps. We do still have our 3 stages for this evening. Stage 1 going to be at lap 45, stage 2 at lap 90, and they race to the end to see who's going to be winning here tonight. And again, like you said, Zach, $100 on the line. And let's find out where our starting results are after qualifying. We saw how fast he could be. He's put down a burner. It's Blaze Crawford in the 76 in this first race here, Wicked Racing League, taking the pole position. Steven Stimpian, that of the home driver, going to be taking that a second. Gavin Rogers going to be in third. Alex Coffey fourth. That TJ Roberts going to be in fifth, with Cedric Hunter sixth. Christopher Norris going to be in seventh. That of Mason Hausman going to be in eighth. That of Ryan Thomas going to be in ninth. And Richard Wolsifer taking that final 10th place position.
In the 11th position, it's last week's winner, Cody Reed in the 25 machine. Adam Buzzio going to be here in the 12th position. 13th is going to be the 2 of Steven Borbell, with Nigel Christensen starting alongside him in 14th. 15th is going to be the 18 of Blaine Wilson. 16th is going to be the 43 of Dakota Camper. Dallas Manis is going to be 17th here on the starting grid. 18th is going to go to Jamie Plord, with 19th in the 71 of Carl Puller. And then rounding out the top 20 is Michael G. Amity there in the 55.
Might have gotten overshadowed with getting the pole, but another newcomer, it's going to be Brandon Zimmerman in 21st position with the 65. Then it's going to be Johnny Shea back in 22nd position. Gregory Shaw in 23rd. Jimmy Kubinak going to be in 24th, with Alex Light in 25th. Tyler Dengler in 26th. 27th goes to that of Brad Delph. Mike Thomas takes 28th. 29th goes to Chad Bean after taking last week off the 9, expecting some fast times here tonight. With that, Ryan Harrison in 30th. The last 2 drivers going to be on track racing. It's going to be Christian DeRoches as well as Steve Cole. With our 2 race controls, going to be Nicholas Rayner as well as Rev. Big thanks to Race Control this evening as the drivers start to pace. Zach, these drivers going to have their first stage for the first 45 laps, but a lot of controversy has been talked around on the fact of this track could cause chaos. A lot are throwing it back to Gateway, and some are nervous on if some drivers didn't put enough practice, and even if you put practice in, this track being so treacherous.
There's good reason for those nerves. This track is so treacherous, like you just said there, Sam, and I think even their practice race, I know a few guys talked about that, and they said it didn't go too well there with keeping it green. So for lap 45 for the first stage, then we'll have to get to lap 90 for the next one. No issues with fuel here tonight, with these drivers being able to go about 70 laps, so we won't see any green flag stops. But I tell you, it's just going to be how much green flag racing do we get. It's going to be maybe somewhat of a sprint race for these drivers having to take off and just get what they can if caution after caution just keeps coming out.
Well, up front, it's going to be that of Blaze Crawford, Steven Stimpian, Gavin Rogers, Alex Coffey, TJ Roberts. It's going to be your top 5 into the restart zone, and we are green for the Ideal Lease 200 at New Hampshire. Blaze Crawford, that Blaze is going to be taking off. Then going to be having Gavin Rogers, Steven Stimpian just stuck in it looked like a higher gear. He's now falling back to 4th.
Looks like he got a little bit of bump there from the 7 of coffee. That drops him back to 6.
Oh,
And Steven
no!
Stipien wrecking.
Stipien gonna be slammed to the outside wall. Caution flag comes out. The rest of the field scattering. Some drivers not able to slow down, and some late melees there in the back half of the field.
Tough break there for one of our top qualifiers there after starting second. Had a tough time, it seems like, getting into turn 1, then off the exit on cold tires. Just spins it right in front of the field there, Sam. And like you said, just some drivers not getting woed up enough, and some of them just coming through like I don't even think they knew there was a wreck happening. So very interesting to see how that shook out there. I think Plord was the one in the 38 or the 33, sorry, that got into Steven Stipien after it was all said and done. But tough break there already to start this race off, and we said it may be caution field, and it looks like it's heading for that train. But luckily, there is a fast repair for these drivers to fix their cars.
All drivers do have one fast repair. As we take a look here at what brought out our first caution of the day. Talked about there being contact that got out of the 81 deeper in the field, but it looks like here it just got into the throttle, and that rear end really started to shake up. And Zach, this 81 certainly was going for an attempt here, but drivers got to be careful, because if they find themselves self-spinning too many times, they could get disqualified.
Yeah, they could. It could very easily happen, man. This is going to be a tough race for these guys. You can just see Stipien, even the driver who qualified second in this field, it just breaks loose, and instead of hitting that 3 car of TJ Roberts there down below him, he elects to throw the car back into the wall. Good job, Alex Coffey there going left, missing him. I believe Cedric Hunter's also going to just barely miss this with Richard in the 56 right behind him. But you're going to see here's the huge hit, and it's going to be Plord coming in the background. And I don't know if it was the smoke that caught him off guard, but just, I mean, not even like he slowed down at all.
No, not at all. There was no attempt at slowing down, and as well, going to be Plord's teammate of Michael Amiti, who's going to be caught up in that one, as both drivers looking, I mean, even in slow-mo, Zach, they were flying, catching up to where Steven Stipien's vehicle was. Like I said, it looked like there was just no attempt. I feel like when you see other drivers slowing down, it might be a good sign to slow down yourself.
Yeah, that's usually a good telltale sign, as they say, is what's going on around you. You should probably follow that. And especially if you see smoke, when you see a big smoke cloud like that, there's no reason to rush through it. The caution flag is coming out, and it will, freeze the field at that point. So there's no gain in position by trying to get through that faster. It was probably just a little bit of bad awareness there on the side of the 33 machine. So it's going to have to use that fast repair. Same for Steven Stipien. They both got the required damage, and I believe even Michael Giamatti did too. So those 3 cars already without a fast repair here to start this race. Actually, I can't say the 55 didn't use a fast repair yet, so he actually saved his. But 2 fast repairs already used in that first caution.
Already used up as the field is in pacing, about to get ready to go back to green flag racing for themselves. And as we're under our first caution, allows us time to give big thanks to our sponsors, as that of iRacing, iFlag. See them blinking on our top left. Well, that is some indications that maybe for Jamie Plord, he will like to see himself, and that is having the iRacing of iFlag virtual flag system. It allows drivers to get clear and in immediate indications on what the flag state is on track. So it allows you to slow down when needed or get out of the way as well. Big thanks to having iRacing iFlag as a sponsor. When you're purchasing their equipment, go use our promo code FreakyFast2022.
Great equipment there for sure, Sam. These guys got it all lined back up, and they're going to get ready to go back to racing, man. This is going to be fun to watch here. See what even the more cooling down process of these tires do, because they were cool before from the the initial grid of this race, but now they've been rolling around at pace speed here for multiple laps. This should be even a worse feel for these drivers. So let's see how it works out. We got some new players up front.
New players up front, ready to get some action. Kevin Rogers is going to be in that outside position. Christopher Norrie is going to be also on the outside, but it's going to be TJ Roberts waiting for a launch, and already going to be green here tonight in New Hampshire. And that of Crawford, hoping to stay steady up front, poking the nose, keeping it set, and they're going to be staying side by side through 1 and 2.
Side by side here as Rogers able to fight strong through 1 and 2 here and stay side by side with Crawford. So that's doing a good job. But I think down here in the 3, unless Rogers can get just such a good roll around that top, which he's actually doing a heck of a job doing there to stay even with that 76 machine. Now even looking to maybe take the lead here down the front straightaway.
and will be able to lead that lap as Gavin Rogers on the outside. A power move by the 77, but not able to fully clear. Continues to ride that mid lane, but goes a little bit too high. Here comes Crawford, holding down steady on the inner groove, but Crawford giving plenty of space. I think with that movement that we saw from Steven Stympian on that first lap might be causing that of Crawford just to give himself a little bit extra spacing, but battling for third on back, they are certainly still on top of one another.
Still stacked up indeed, as Norris has been able to move himself into 38 up to that third spot. Now Alex Coffey going to look to go around the outside of the 3 of TJ Robertson. Mason Halsman with the aggressive 3-wide move down to the bottom, slides up in front of the 3. Now the 3 maybe crosses back over on him. This is some aggressive racing already here to stage number 1, and Halsman losing the rear end there, almost wrecks it coming off of 2.
It's right on board with that of the Hello Kitty pink machine as Cedric Hunter going to be trying to figure out how to make this inside line work as he's in the inner grooves of the 3 machine, trying to find a way to go forward. But as Christopher Norris on that outside lane starting to fall back as everyone trying to find out where to single file, but it's the 40, Ryan Thomas throwing it down as well as Cedric Hunter all the way onto the apron. It's the 31.
Oh man, that was some close action there.
Oh,
I know
no.
I've seen it work in the past, but it didn't work on the exit there. So that's just showing that's not going to work out too well. And I think it was due to the fact that he got a bump from the last week's winner of the 25 of Cody Reed. So I don't know if that was on purpose going down there. It was more of a saving action, but now he's got the 56 all over his back bumper also as they're all trying to gather it up here.
You know, might have gotten the bump by the 25, but for sure got a bump for that of the 56 on the exit of turn 4. Other drivers throwing it down. There's the 5 of Adam Buzzio trying some big moves. As well as we look up, that's going to be TJ Roberts, but falling back. Here is the 5 machine trying to figure out how to get by that of Cody Reed, Cody Reed, what a story he had last week winning at the Glen, but now at the Oval. This is where he's hoping to find some different magic to finally win an Oval for himself.
Magic is different here for sure at the Magic Mile, so you got to find that grip and find the grip levels of where you want to run it. And it's always interesting to watch the lines here too, because these drivers have really 3 grooves there that you can run. You can run the very, very bottom. It's the flattest part of the track. The second part of the track is sometimes the most preferred, but I feel like the third lane has been what a lot of these guys have been utilizing that upper groove to try to get that great run off. And you can see Mason Halsman, that great runoff was more of a slideways runoff for him there. So he's been very sideways here to start this runoff. He's going to have to watch out for those tires here as this run continues on, because that right rear will get eat up a ton. As now you can even see Cedric Hunter in the background. He's making a move on Christopher Norris as the yellow's out.
Yellow flag is out, and it's a melee of drivers piling in on the front stretch. It's the back half of the field, just not able to slow down, as you see there, the 8 of Kubanek, and drivers just nowhere to find themselves. And like, once again, it just seems like Zach drivers not able to slow down immediately, which that happens with these tires. Their drivers are trying their best to slow down. Sometimes you just can't do it on a dime.
It's very tough to get it slowed down sometimes, like you're saying, Sam. It's just, it's so tough, especially when the track gets covered up. And that's the one thing about the front straightaway here with the pit wall where it's located. It can easily make this a very, narrow front straightaway where things happen. You got to find a quick escape, because if you don't, it can end up right in front of you. And I think that's what happened to a lot of these drivers. But Kubanek in the 8, that's where it all started around, and he was trying to hold on to his machine, and we'll get to see that on instant replay as he was just very, very loose coming off of 4 here, and we get to see it now live. And I think, unfortunately, Brad Delph's just going to be the innocent bystander here.
I mean, we talk about sometimes how the car just can overcorrect and find grip that just launches you to the outside. That's exactly what Kubanek's going to feel. He's loose, he's sideways, and then it just grips up immediately going on the outside. Brad Delph nowhere to go. Tyler Dangler as well going to be finding himself smashing into the 8 machine, but this is when the rest of the field trying to figure out how to get around all that chaos. That of the 47 is going to get a little bit of a clip for that of Johnny Shade, but it's Brad Delph. Watch out for the 14. He continues to fall down. He's trying to slow down, but the rest of the field not able to do so, and they start piling madly here.
Yeah, it's just continuing of that same process where drivers just didn't get slowed down enough. And it's tough again, because when you go to that inside like that, you're trying to miss the car sliding down the racetrack. Sometimes you'll gas it up. You try to speed up to get past the wreck. And then you got someone else sliding down the track right in front of your path. It's just one of those situations where you really have nowhere you can go. So these drivers had a tough time there trying to make it through, and going to have some drivers definitely having to get repairs there on pit road. But again, another quick caution here is we're getting nearing closer to that lap 45 stage. It will happen somewhat quickly here, but these drivers are going to have to be methodical on how they want to run this race right now, because you won't always think of that process of saving your tires, try to do the most to save them. But if you got a lot of caution laps, you're not going to have much time to use them before that lap 45 stage.
No, you're really not. And now it's going to be a thoughts of where do you want to really place yourself moving forward? Because if you find yourself going to the back half of the field, some drivers deciding to take tires. I'm curious, Zach, on if they're taking tires now, if they're even with the, having cold tires with freshies, is that even going to be a true advantage moving forward?
I really don't think so, Sam. It's tough to say, because some of these tracks in this next gen car do get, it seems like the short track tires sometimes even quicker at these places, especially places like Martinsville, where when the tires cool down, they seem to gain a lot of grip back. So that phase of, the tires changing, how much will they help you, will be an interesting case. I think with the higher speeds here, with it being a mile long, we will see some fall off. So tire wear will at some point start to matter, unlike Martinsville, where it seems like sometimes even taking it all the way to the end of the race on a set of tires is the way to go. But the fire off speed is definitely going to be there for the worn tires just due to the heat. But as those tires begin to start to reheat back up after the cooling down phase here under these cautions, that those new tires will start to find a groove. But the question is, how long will the run be? I think that's going to be the big question that a lot of these guys got to ask. If it's not a long run, then you may not see the benefit of new tires. So with the limited sets they have even here tonight, we'll see what type of strategies are pulled, because only 4 sets available to them. We got 1 already on the car, and that only means you got 3 in pit road. So you got 1 extra set of tires there to play with if you take tires at the stages.
Well, because of the cause of that caution, Jimmy Kubinek can be given an EOL. He'll go to the end of the line, as tonight you are watching that of the Ideal Lease 200 at New Hampshire. We've got 3 stages. Stage 1 going to be at that lap 45, at the end of lap 45, and then stage 2 at the end of lap 90. Then we race it to the end. Those are your 3 stage breaks that we're going to be having here tonight. And for the winner, $100 on the line. And if you're a new winner, a chance to make it into the playoffs as the pace car is off. And for that of the Wicked Racing League, it's time to get back to green flag racing here in New Hampshire.
Great start from the 77 machine. Can he clear up in front of Blaze? And he does, as Crawford's going to have to settle here for second at the moment, as Coffey's now slid up his way into third. But here's the Madhouse back here around the 56, the 13, or sorry, the 31 there of Cedric Hunter, the 3 of TJ Roberts, the 38 of Christopher Norris. They're all stacked up here heading down the 3.
Stacking up, and they got to be careful. That outside wall out of turn 2 has been dangerous, and watch out for the exit of turn 4. It just seems like the exit has been the most dangerous place to be. Doesn't matter what end of the track you're at, as everyone trying to put themselves in line. As you see there of the 2 of Borbell, just seeing a Madhouse in front of them, but where to go? It just seems like stay low and see if you can survive the corner is the plan for the 2.
He's looking to do the best he can here to survive, and New Hampshire, survival is the key, because this place is a madhouse when it comes to stacking up. Checkups happening in front of you with these flat, long corners here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and also just tough to put the power down, so guys make mistakes easily, and they're wrecking up front.
Wrecking up front, and everyone's going to slow down if they can. It's going to be Alex Coffey and others. The drivers stay low, they stay high, and oh no, they're spinning all over the place, and somehow... Yes, there were about 3 or 4 drivers involved, but that could have been a lot worse there, Zach.
Could have been super, super bad there, Sam, for sure. It's unfortunate to see there, I believe, racing for the 3rd spot. Just 2 drivers getting loose, pushing hard, and getting into each other. And the 3 of Roberts really nowhere to go for him. So tough break there, tough ordeal. Even other drivers getting involved into it after. It's just a melee so far here to start off New Hampshire. And this is somewhat what a lot of drivers were expecting, I think, coming in here tonight.
As we're getting ourselves into this madness, going to be watching that. The 2 drivers mainly involved in this one, seeing the drivers of the 78 involved, as well as, seeing Alex Coffey in the 7. Hard contacts for all those drivers that were involved, but the drivers that we're going to get that of required damage, Richard Wolsifer, as well as Mason Hausman, as it seemed like Richard might have been caught up in a wreck later on. As we're getting our instant replay set up. I mean, Zach, we finding ourselves 20 laps into this race. Our stage break in about 26 laps. And this looks like another deja vu moment if someone just getting loose, overcorrecting, and taking out more drivers with them.
And it does, Sam. Look, the looseness there from the 78, but also the 7 getting loose too, and then it just comes down into him. So it was kind of a both drivers losing their grip level there coming off the corner, and then 78 bounces off the wall. The 7's trying to save it, and here's the 3 of Roberts, nowhere to go for him. It's all closed up. This is going to spin the 78 straight here, and I think he's going to gas it up here, and you're going to see he's going to break loose here in a second as he gasses it up. And or no, actually, sorry, the 56 comes across his nose. That's what happens there, as that's how Richard got involved in that, and that's going to get, like you said, give him required damage. So tough break already for a lot of these guys. Fast repairs are going to be at a premium when it comes to this race.
So far, got about that of 5 drivers that have used their fast repair, and can add 2 more to the pile. And I think at the end of the night, the question might be not if you have used your fast repair, it's how many of you will be left racing here tonight. We're only 21 laps in, 3 cautions so far. Whew, I mean, Zach, this race already kind of giving shades of, you think back to Martinsville last season. That race had a lot of big cautions, very similar wrecks that just continue to go on and on. Tonight could be a similar story of it's more of the survival and track position than anything else here tonight.
Sometimes that's how racing is. It just seems like nobody can get out of their own way, and it just builds up and builds up, and it gets worse over time. So hopefully these drivers can find a little bit of, just grip level to hold on to these cars, because it just seems like everybody having major issues holding on to their machines. And it's been a tough start for sure. 3 cautions already, and not even to the halfway point until next lap there for that stage break. And that's a telltale sign of what we could see here tonight. I mean, we could see over 10, over 15 cautions. So just be prepared for it out there, folks. It could be somewhat of a demo derby out there. So we'll see how it all plays out. And an interesting call. We saw the 7 there involved in it of Alex Coffey spun around after the contact between him and Mason Hossman and hit the wall pretty hard there in the 7. And he stayed out, Sam. So I'm kind of questioning that call. I guess he wants to keep the track position, I guess.
I wasn't given that required damage flag, so why not stay out there? Test to see if your limits are completely out of shape. I mean, I would imagine the steering wheel's still pointing straight. He's at full power. Might as well continue to see what you've got, even with the side damage that you're dealing with, as it is just a mile-and-a-length track. That means the aerodynamics, not the biggest thing in the world, but a massive jump for the 77 of Gavin Rogers. Caught that of Blaze Crawford just sleeping there on the restart.
That was about as good as you can get there for a start, and that's going to allow the 77 to try to get away. But we got some contact back there to 38 up into the 7 of Coffee there as they fight down the back straightaway. They're all going to duck out here to the inside. But I tell you what, Rogers has been having good starts, but how long before that 76 tries to show some of that speed he had in qualifying here as this run gets, shorter and shorter? At some point, you got to start pushing because that stage is coming up.
Certainly got to find yourself pushing forward, as right now, biggest mover on track going to be that of the 51 all the way in that of 15th place. Up 8 spots as driver going to be high. That's TJ Roberts, who's going to be losing a lot of ground. Look to be a little bit of contact to the 3 machine as he continues the drop backwards. Up front, drivers continue to try to stay single filed out, but Zach, just everyone's trying to push, and that aggression level certainly is there, as there's our 51 machine, the biggest mover so far.
It's been available for these drivers to move up. If you can miss the wrecks, you can stay and keep your nose clean. You can gain some spots here early in this race, and Gregory Shell's been doing a great job of that there, as he's got Dakota Camper in the 43 right in front of him, trying to make something happen there with the 45 of Dallas Manis there, also the 18 of Blaine Wilson, all right here outside the top 10 in the wrecking.
There's multitudes of drivers going off track. It's going to be that of the 38 up front who's going to hold on. It's Jamie Plord further in the field, though, that got a lot more sideways, losing more positions, and both somehow staying off course, it looked like. Take that back, Christopher Norris immediately having to go to pit road.
Major damage on that 38 machine, and just simple mistakes. Again, it's showing that these cars break loose so easily. You got to be very methodical on the throttle. You cannot just jump back in that gas. You have to be smooth and very, very well timed with it, or you will definitely have a major moment like we've seen so far with a few of these guys. As we're watching the 9 of Chad Bean here battle it with Brandon Zimmerman, the new driver here, also with himself and Blaze Crawford. They got the 3 in front of Roberts there, he got super loose, and I tell you what, he's got a lot of damage on the nose from that last wreck too, so I think he's trying to hold on with that machine.
He's holding on, but also the more and more that you slide, the worse it's going to get, and that seems to be showing for the 3 machine. Just no rear grip when he gets into the throttle, slipping and sliding and trying to hold on the best that he can. And right now, looking at the field, drivers that have already used their fast repairs, currently the highest of those, Steven Stimpian, recovering and back in the top 10 is the 81.
That's amazing to see already after his spin on lap 1 there, coming out of 2. He's really gained it back through the field, and he showed a lot of speed in the practice session, in qualifying also, so not too surprised to see him gaining this much, but it just shows he's trying to get that track position back that he lost with a simple mistake to start this race off. And right now, working his way forward. His next on his list will be last week's winner, Cody Reed, and he'll also have the number 20 of Nigel Christensen.
These drivers all in line, but driver ahead of him getting loose. It's the 7 of Alex Coffey into the outside wall, and you're going to see him there right as the field is driving on by. Almost identical to what brought out the last yellow.
Coffey is having a struggle here tonight as he's been trying to hold on to that machine the best he possibly can. He's already got damage from that first incident. Now some of that damage is starting to build up here with that car having hit the wall, but we got a battle for the lead too. Blaze Crawford, he's had enough of Gavin Rogers leading. He's going to the inside here as they battle off of turn 4.
Blaze kind of just gave it up on the outside. A little bit of contact on the exit of the corner. Blaze Crawford holding steady as that Gavin Rogers holds the lead for now. But that 76, excuse me, looking quick. A little bit of a wiggle from Rogers. Crawford to the inside and giving the 76 that lead position. And now a driver we haven't really talked about that often. Zach, 3rd place. Ryan Thomas has caught up to the leaders now.
I was just about to say that, Sam. Ryan Thomas here, he's done a great job to drive up to the back bumper of these guys, and he had some good showings last season. Hasn't had those yet this season. Now having one of those here at New Hampshire, and that's looking good for that 40 machine as he's driving up here. I think Gavin Rogers, though, from what I'm seeing, he's used those tires up. That car is sliding sideways. It was just a clinical pass there from Blaze Crawford, working his way past that 76 machine. I think that 77. I think the 76 is going to drive off here, possibly into the sunset for this stage.
And new numbers, we're trying to get used to it, as well as new drivers joining in this week. That of Blaze Crawford, the leader, as well as Brandon Zimmerman, both joining the fray. We drop back to see the newly moving up Steven Stimpian, as he's going to be having that Nigel Christensen in front of him. And Nigel looking clean here tonight. 7th place for that 20 machine, as he's going to run that middle lane, as Steven Stimpian stay low and not able to get that exit speed. The center off is where the 20 looks so strong.
The exit was really, really good for that 20. That outer groove is what works, but he got a little bit free on the exit there, and he just couldn't keep the power from down that straightaway speed. Steven Stimpian, nice clinical pass right through the middle groove, and that's what I'm starting to see here. The drivers that are starting to go forward and have the best drive off are the drivers keeping it in the middle lane there. They're not going up to that 3rd lane, really trying to hurt the right sides of the car. They're using every little bit of grip they have in the middle lane to move themselves forward. So I think that's going to be something some of these drivers I know want to run those fast laps up top there, but you got to be more gentle to the tires, and I think that's what that middle lane does. It just makes you slow up that center speed that much more to not create that load.
And if you're just joining us right now on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, you're watching that of the Wicked Racing League, and a driver is slow, bringing out a caution. It's the 2 of that of Stephen Borbell. Just stopped on that of the center of 3 and 4. Look to be getting loose for the 2 machine, as that is going to bring out our 4th caution of the day. But Zach, we're not even done with stage number 1. Stage 1 comes to a conclusion in just about 10 laps.
And it will come to a conclusion in just about 10 laps there at lap 45, and they'll be throwing that stage yellow. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes things up as these drivers maybe go in and change tires, or do they stay out? I think it'll be a question. I mean, with how many cautions we've had, they might be able to make it even on fuel all the way to that lap 90 part of the stage. So we'll see how that works out. But we're going to get this instant replay for you folks. I think we're going to see here the 2 of Borbell just having some issues up here in that top groove. Steven Stimpian passing him there to get up to 6th as this move happened, but again, that upward groove.
Whoa.
And he was getting loose, and the 20 of Christensen there, just nowhere to go for him, into the rear bumper.
And locks it down as the rest of the field goes on by, and that's what brings out our 4th yellow of the night, as drivers making the decision, do they want to come into pit road or not, is going to be the question here. Is 4 cautions in here, Zach, at just 35 laps. Certainly Everyone trying to just woe in to this race, and Admin's already over the radio just saying, all right, guys, let's try to be patient. It's still a long race. Let's try to see if we can get a little bit of a greener run as we're getting ready for their stage break.
We have seen a few wrecks caused due to patience, but I think these drivers are just having a tough time holding on to the race car, it looks like. So got to be a little bit more conscientious about those tires, not try to use them up, and just you got to think about it when you come off the exit of these corners. You cannot just get right back into that throttle. It'll really heat them up, not only, but also upset the balance of this car. So we'll see if they can get that all figured out, but we're going to be coming to that stage caution pretty soon. And if you're out there looking for a product that could help you throw a stage caution from your driver's seat, or if you're up in top the booth, you need to go check out the admin box, folks. It's one of the best button boxes out there. Have one myself with pre-programmed commands that help you control the race from the driver's seat. So make sure you head on over to adminbox.com with 2 X's there in box. Use the discount code you see there on the screen, FFB box with 2 X's, and get yourself a discount at purchase. So we'll see if they're going to need to use that, or do we get that caution, Sam, 5 laps before, where it counts as the stage caution.
5 laps to go, and yeah, I think that it's going to be something where the drivers, they may think about using a set. I know a couple of drivers coming into pit road, but for sure these front runners, they want to stay up front. They want that track position. But a driver we haven't really talked to for most of the season, I kind of want to get his thoughts on this run. 3rd place runner Ryan Thomas in that 40 machine. What a great run he's having so far. Let's get our thoughts on how this 40 machine is running. Ryan, it's Sam and Zach of the booth. You got us?
Yep.
Well, Ryan, you're running in 3rd. This is looking like a great run so far for yourself here tonight. But man, how is the car feeling? Because it looks wicked loose from our point of view.
Yeah, over the course of that run, the car just in the center of the corner just kept getting looser and looser. And I kept losing pace to the leaders. But I'm going to try to keep the tires cool with this run so I don't get loose off the corner exit.
Yeah, Ryan, we've been seeing a lot of different lines too. It looks like some drivers electing to run that 3rd groove to the 2nd groove. What is your decision based there?
My line right now is trying to keep it up in the edge of from the top and try to hit the car slowed down to straighten off the exit so you don't get loose.
Well, Ryan, it's looking like the competitors up front are looking fast. How are you feeling confidence-wise on trying to beat out that of Blaze or even that of Rogers?
Right now, I'm just trying to keep it clean, trying to get to the end first. But I think if I push it a little further, I get him.
Well, it certainly looks good from here. We're hoping for the best, and good luck out there, Ryan.
Thank you.
As that's going to be Ryan Thomas getting himself situated and ready to get running here. Zach, certainly 40 machine, hoping for a solid run here tonight, as he's going to be starting in 3rd place. But behind him, as we're riding on, that is going to be Adam Buzzio. Buzzio is just lingering back, getting ready for this restart, as you are watching that of the Idea Lease 200. And it's this driver who's sponsoring tonight's race as we are closing in on our stage break. It's the end of lap 45, and we're green once again here in New Hampshire.
See how this start goes. We've got a few different instances with Blaze Crawford going all the way to the apron. Interesting line there from him. I like that, as the slower speed allows him to get that cut through the center like that and get a good drive off. But you can see a lot of battling going on back here farther in the field as drivers are scattering, trying to find any little spot here as they're trying to get those top 10 stage points at lap 45.
Try to find those stage points. Where can you place yourself only in the top 10? Get those points for now, as Gregory Shaw thinking about going 3 wide. Instead, he's going to get bump drafting to his teammate of Alex Light. Light, now one of the biggest movers so far, up 13 positions. But Shaw not giving up for that 12th as well as 13th position. That of Limitless trying to move forward, and as well, they've got Richard Wolsifer. There's 3 Limitless drivers all together.
All grouped up together, teammates, and we'll see. They're all fighting for that final few spots here in the stage. They want to go forward, and Halsman, who was involved in that incident, he's trying to move forward also. So it's every person's game right now, as you see back here with 38 Horse after his mishap onto that inside lane. He's making his way forward. He's got Carl Puller now trying to make the pass on the 13 of Ryan Harrison. Also TJ Roberts, who's got that major damage from that earlier incident. He's trying to hold on. He's going to wreck it.
Gonna be sliding for himself. He goes down into the grass, into the inside barrier, but holds down as there's no oncoming traffic. No yellow will be thrown, as that is gonna be given some easy spots for themselves. We bounce back up to the battling for 23rd place, but it's now all on who can get that 10th place position. And right now it's Alex Coffey who's right now holding that buffer spot as he's going to be trying to make a pass here on Cody Reed for 9th.
That he is trying to go to the inside here, make the pass on last week's winner in the 25 machine, new first-time winner here at Wicked. But Coffey with the powerful drive into the center of the corner and up the racetrack a little bit, shoving that 25 up, but he's going to make the clean pass here and move himself up tonight to get 2 possible bonus points here for that 9th position. He's got Blaine Wilson and Nigel Christian directly ahead. We'll see if he can go forward and try to get some more here before that stage caution comes out.
We want to talk about moving forward, and what a rebound. 4th place runner Steven Stimpian caught up in that first wreck, had to use his fast repair to start this race off, and he has now climbed back up to 4th place. He's got Cedric Hunter, Gavin Rogers right in front of him, as Blaze Crawford trying to just pull away from the rest of the field.
Blaze is driving off into the sunset while Gavin Rogers, he's trying to hold on to second here as he's got 2 hungry drivers looking for some stage points here. Like you said, Steven Stippian, what a drive for him after spinning, being backwards pretty much on the front or the back straightaway here on lap number 1. I'm sure he's probably pretty happy with where he's at right now. He knows no mistakes are left because he's got that fast repair gone, but he is definitely one of the fastest drivers out there. And if he can get some track position, he's going to be a driver I think that might be able to contend with that 76.
Battling for 2nd place is what you're seeing on screen as Crawford's trying to pull away. We're on the white flag at stage number 1. Top 10 drivers get those bonus points, but yellow flag is out. It's a wreck on the front stretch. It's the 45 of Dallas Manis.
Unfortunate for Manis there. He's going to be spun around as he's going to try to get it back going. Just going to bring it early into this stage break for these drivers, so the top 10 are going to get paid out with the points that they are when this field is frozen here. But Manis, just kind of a similar case to what we've seen all night here, Sam. It's just been very, very loose cars that these drivers have been trying to hold on to, and I think even some contact between him and Gregory Shaw on the exited corner kind of helped that 45 go around.
Trying to clarify over the radio or both drivers as Manis is kind of confused on what happened to himself, as get a look at this instant replay in just a little bit here, as that is the conclusion of stage number 1 for these drivers. Quick rundown of where those drivers are going to be taking those points. 1st place goes to that Blaze Crawford. Gavin Rogers takes 2nd. Cedric Hunter takes 3rd. 4th goes to Steven Stimpian, and Adam Buzzio gets 5th. As we talk about this incident, Zach, I mean, you got that Limitless trying to hold steady and kind of be a wall as Manis tries to get through.
He's trying his best here, and you can see, I think it steps out for that 45 machine there, or 51 machine, sorry, of Gregory Shaw, and yeah, just steps out sideways, comes down, and just does the little bit of a tail whip there to the 45, and unfortunately for Dallas, he's going to go head first into that wall. So tough break, but should be able to at least not have to take the fast repair and just try to get that optionally repair done.
As drivers that are going to be getting those bonus points, as you see there, Manis, hard contact for himself into pit road, luckily going to get some repairs done, as that will be the stage. Finished off with that of 4th place. 5th place in points going to be that of Ryan Thomas, drifting and falling back. Adam Buzzio going to get 6th. That of going to be seeing the 20 machine of Nigel Christensen going to get 7th in points. 7th position for himself, excuse me. Then going to be seeing the 18 of Blaine Wilson taking that of 8th place. 9th goes to that of going to be the 7 machine of Alex Coffey, and then the 78 of going to be seeing Mason Houseman taking that last bonus point after a late pass on Cody Reed. Great job for himself. But man, I gotta say, for that Blaze Crawford, certainly a fast driver to watch out for. But Zach, right before we interview him, some shenanigans up front. We got some drivers deciding to stay out instead of coming to pit road.
Yeah, this is exactly what I was saying. It was shenanigans for sure. It's going to be a little bit more interesting, I think, for Blaze here. He's going to have to be patient and cautious through this because these are drivers that have started near the rear of the field, so he's going to have to work his way methodically through them.
Trying to get these drivers up here in the booth as we are going to talk to the 76 machine, Blaze Crawford, our winner of the stage here tonight. A great run so far. Got the pole award, and let's see how our stage winner is feeling. Blaze, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. You got us? I'm going to try one more time. 76, Blaze Crawford, you got us? And it seems like we cannot get that of our stage winner. Blaze Crawford going to be too focused to try to get these done. And Zach, I mean, he's going to be starting himself in 6th place in the middle of traffic. First time he's been this deep in traffic. We'll see how the 76 can handle this.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting sight to see, as they would say. So I'm telling you, right now, he's got to be careful. He's been fast. I mean, he's got the speed for sure. He's got the long run drive through the center off in these corners where other guys were struggling. He's just got to work his way methodically, though. You cannot get caught up in someone else's mess that puts you back in the middle of the field. So we'll see what his decision is there. So this is going to be one of those times where you got to hold your breath if you're Blaze, but he knows. I mean, he's a very talented driver, and if he's got his head on screwed on right now, he should be able to make his way through these guys and get back to that position.
Top 4 drivers that were in the middle of the pack. Let's see how they can start on this restart. It's going to be Carl Pooler, Stephen Borbell, that of Brad Delph, and Mike Thomas. Drivers that are hoping to survive up front. And as well, the driver just going with fuel only. It's going to be Alex Coffey in 5th place, trying to go with the track position. Then our stage winner, the 76, going to be back in 6th place for that of Blaze Crawford as stage 2 begins, as we're green with that of Pooler as well as Borbell. Great launch for themselves. But watch out for turns 1 and 2. This is where the chaos could reign.
And again, Blaze Crawford going all the way down to the apron, utilizing that grip level that you have right there with that slower entry speed. And it's going to be 3 wide with a mix-up back there with Cedric Hunter trying to go for it. He's got Alexander Light in the 6 there on his outside. He's also got Mike Thomas, and it's all stacking up, but they're almost all wrecking.
They're almost going to be 3 wide, almost forcing it 4 wide at times. The exit of the corner, they somehow drop it side by side for all the drivers 8 on back, as that of Mike Thomas continues to kind of be staying high, hoping to get out of the way as the rest of the field able to cruise their way forward. As Alex Light, Christopher Norris, they got to be careful as Mason Hausman makes contact with that of 38, and more drivers spin around into the inside pit wall, and Christopher Norris, who had already used the fast repair, finds himself being spun into the inside barriers.
Yeah, it's just a tough break. I think he's trying to lay off the 6 in front of him and got the bumper from behind. And that's where these stack-ups and these check-ups in these corners can be so tough to have happen. And just drivers on different agendas, drivers being very aggressive, trying to make things happen. And it just causes a major incident like that. It takes out Buzzio also along with the 38. So both those drivers getting caught up in that mix. And they're going to have to try to move their way forward. But looking at their cars, not too bad off when it comes to damage. Luckily, no required damage flags at all.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing you take away from all those incidents is the fact that there was no required damage flag given, as that of 38 machine going to have to work his way forward once again. As the drivers up front, Carl Pooler, that of Stephen Borbell, as well as Brad Delph. Great launch on the restart there for drivers on older tires. They're going to be finding themselves just trying to survive once again. Blaze Crawford, he's going to be on the outside on this restart as long as no one else up in front of him comes into pit road, and it doesn't look like they will be. So, Zach, this is going to be a different restart for the 76. What are you expecting for him to try this time, as he's not going to have that apron unless somehow the restarts magically give him a gift to go to the inside?
He got gifted that the first restart right there. So, I mean, it's possible, but it's more unlikely to happen up in these upward rows because he started on the outside groove on that last restart, but it just opened up where he could get immediately to the bottom by clearing that inside lane on that restart. There was a little bit of a checkup, and he was able to get right down to that apron and cut right across it. And the reason that is working really well for him is just because it's the lower speed that you carry into one than what you are at full speed. So it's a smart move by him and very interesting. I think a few drivers might pick up on it a little bit, but if you do it wrong, that's the key. It's a difficult line to run also. So if you do that wrong, you're going to be in big trouble. So we'll see how that works out here for him, because like you said, he's going to start up top. If he can't get down low, he's just going to have to try to roll the top of these drivers and get around them that way. But Cedric Hunter also, along with Ryan Thomas, they did a good job with Blaze of getting up into position here with them on those brand new set of tires after this stage break.
Yeah, got to be on those new tires. And, you know, I'm curious also looking deeper into this field, you know, Gavin Rogers in 11th place at 77. He was so fast in the early portions. He burnt off those tires so quick. I'm excited to see what Gavin's going to learn on this second stage. I mean, Zach, that's something we always talk about when we talk about stage racing, how much knowledge you can take. Usually leagues only have one stage before they race it to the end. This league has 2 stage breaks, giving you multiple tubes at times to really learn this vehicle.
It's always a good time to learn. I mean, we talk about it all the time, like you said, Sam. It's definitely what you got to do if you're one of these drivers is learn to do that. So we'll see how that works out. I believe Steven Stimpian actually just manually disconnected from the server, so he's had something come up where he had to leave the session, and now that's going to put him in a terrible spot because he's not going to be able to get back out there unless he reconnects. So it's a tough break there for Steven Stimpian. So we'll see how that works out. And didn't look like he had any damage or anything on his car. He was completely all fine, but it's just maybe something come up. Sometimes things happen.
Yeah, very unfortunate situation for that 81 who did a great job climbing his way through the field, but now going to be calling it a race for himself in that 81 machine. We'll see if he can come back, but up front, Carl Pooler, Stephen Borbell, we'll see how well they can run here, but man, you hate to see that type of a situation for a driver that was already making a heroic run in that first stage. Now we'll have to watch from the grandstands for the rest of this one. Carl Pooler, Stephen Borbell, Brad Delph, that of Blaze Crawford, Cedric Hunter, Ryan Thomas, that of Alex Light, as well as going to be Mason Houseman, Cody Reed, Gavin Rogers going to be your top 10. Stacked up, ready to get rolling here. We've had 6 cautions, and one of those cautions was our stage break, as well as a yellow flag with an on-track incident. We're only 55 laps in here at New Hampshire for that of the Ideal Lease 200. As the driver's ready, pace car is off into the restart zone, and Carl Pooler leads another lap for the 71.
Another great start from there, Sam, but this allows Blaze to get down because Delph did not get the greatest start. Blaze able to get to the inside lane here. Now he's going to be to the inside of the 2 machine, coming off of turn 2, already looking for the second spot. What a good restart for him. Also, Ryan Thomas able to get around Brad Delph. That moves him up the 4th.
And those drivers, Ryan Thomas, Cedric Hunter, they've got to keep up with that of Blaze Crawford. Do not allow this 76 to get too far away from you, as he is now up to 2nd place for that of the 76 pole sitter. And as well, that of Carl Pooler. Just hoping he's pulling away fast enough. Again, he's on older tires than the rest of the field. Is Carl Pooler. He went with the strategy call of hoping for this race to turn into a caution fest for the rest of this stage, so then he can take tires at the end of stage 2. But right now, Ryan Thomas under fire from Hello Kitty.
That he is. Hello Kitty machine there of Cedric Hunter in the 31, making big moves here. Able to get almost past Borbell. Going to have to get the drive off the exit here to make that pass happen, and it looks like he will. So good job by Cedric Hunter, up to 3rd for him as he's looking to move his way forward. Also, Gavin Rogers in the background trying to make a big move on Mason Halsman.
Yeah, they're going to be trying to make some bigger moves for themselves, because for that of Mason Houseman, he has been very aggressive for the 78. He's hoping to grab some more runs, as Gavin Rogers has to go a little bit wide there, trying to figure out how to make a pass as they're side by side. We're riding on board with last week's winner, Cody Reed, as he's got that of Alex Light in the 6th to his inside.
That he does. Alex Light trying to hold on to what he got there from these pit stops, not taking any tires. It looks like Reed trying to move his way forward after that, but looks like Carl Pooler's already got a pass by Blaze Crawford up front, and Cedric Hunter moved his way to 2nd.
As Blaze Crawford takes the lead, we've got an update on what happened to Steven Stimpian. Child taking precedent over a sim race. Makes sense. Stimpian had to go take care of his child, had to step away, and you know, those real life experiences kind of have to take over instead of a sim racing situation.
Yeah, it's like that sometimes, Sam. You know, you got real life incidences that happen out there, and you got to get away from the sim and go do that. It's, you know, luckily the sim, you're not strapped in to a car where, you know, you can't tell nothing like that is going on. So had to go out there and deal with his son. But hey, that's life, and that is part of sim racing for sure. You get to have those real life moments come in that take you out of the races even. So tough break there for Steven after a good run here, getting heroically, like you said, back up to that top 5, but just going to have to call it quits here early tonight.
Now going to be seeing some drivers, as we've talked about, Blaze Crawford being so down as he gets back into the lead position, but Brandon Zimmerman, a brand new driver, joining here today. I mean, a lot of news seen out of Blaze Crawford trying to join in yesterday into the league. Zimmerman joining today for the Wicked Racing League, making both their debuts here at New Hampshire. I mean, Zach, a tough track that we've seen. A lot of drivers having issues. I mean, even veterans that were here last season, deep in the field, just trying to hold on, as here we find that of the 5. of Adam Buzzio, as well as the 18 of that of Blaine Wilson and Nigel Christensen in that 20 machine, all around one another, trying to figure out how to get by the 9 of Chad Bean. And what an aggressive move by that of Blaine Wilson.
Yeah, aggressive move. He's going to pay for
Too
that
much.
aggressive move.
He's going to back up hard contact, and that's going to be right in front of, I believe, that was the 38 of Christopher Norris, who was going to collect even more damage for the 38 machine.
It's just stacking on top of each other for a few of these guys out there. It's really adding up, as they would say. So tough break there for this group, but man, oh man, I tell you, it's going to be a night filled with this, possibly, as we're only on lap 60 and just under 100 to go, and already have 7 cautions and expecting another one at lap 90 even. So we'll see how that all shakes out. But just a very aggressive move by Blaine Wilson we saw there, and it turned out to be the downfall of him there, as he got the bump from Adam Buzzio, who probably just didn't expect the 18 just to cut across like that.
Yeah, we got to see that incident live. So we're going to take a quick break, ladies and gentlemen. We got less than 100 laps to go. We still have our stage break at the end of lap 90, so there's still plenty of racing to see. The question is, how many cautions we'll be finding out, as the Wicked Racing League struggling at New Hampshire, but they certainly think that they can take it to the end. As you are watching all the action here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we'll see you on the other side as we go side by side. Pace car pulls off, and we're back to Green Flag Racing here for the Wicked Racing League on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall, and down into turn number 1, it's going to be that of Blaze Crawford holding off. That is Cedric Hunter, Ryan Thomas, Gavin Rogers, Mason Alsman, your top 5 as they exit out of turn number 2.
Here they come down that back straightaway. Cedric Hunter with a decent run there, able to stay somewhat close to the 76 machine there. As you also got Ryan Thomas there, who's under threat from the 77 of Rogers, who's really been making his big moves up through the field, trying to gain these spots. But here is the Hornet's Nest, as they would say. As you get
for the lead, though. For the lead, it's Cedric Hunter diving it down low for the 31, trying to get by that of Blaze Crawford. Kind of looking like a little bit of a different pass, but taking the lead, just like we saw Gavin Rogers. The question is, can Cedric Hunter hold off this 76 that looks to be the fastest driver on the long run?
That's the huge question I got to ask myself. You know, taking this lead, yeah, that's good to do right here early, but how much are you going to hurt those tires, even though, yeah, we're coming up to a stage at lap 90. We'll see if Cedric Hunter can do a better job than Gavin Rogers did, because Rogers got to that lead, and it just really hurt those tires as the run went on. Maybe Cedric Hunter feels like getting out here is going to be the best chance for him to have the control on restarts if we continue to have cautions. As now Rogers even up to the third position. Maybe he can get in between him, Hunter, and the 76 of Crawford, and that might help the 31 a little bit.
Mason Housman, who's been aggressive. You see that 78 starting to poke the nose at the 40 of Ryan Thomas. Will that Mason Housman decides to dive bomb it in one of these corners, because it just seems like we're anticipating that big, bold move that he's going to go for, as drivers not expecting to get caught up in some incidences. But the 18, Blaine Wilson, hard contact. It looked to be out the exit of turn 2, and he is going to be sent to pit road. Just too much damage for that Wilson.
Up break there for Wilson is, it's, you know, one of those deals where it's just when you get that much damage, you just can't get it fixed here. Is it's going to be one of those nights for a lot of these drivers out here trying to make moves and trying to make something happen, but you just get caught up in something. Here's Alex Coffey in the 7. He's trying to go forward, a little bump forward to the 51 of Gregory Shaw, but now he's going to have a car go to his inside there and look for position in the 5.
As that 5 machine of Adam Buzzio trying to figure out where he's going to go for himself, diving it to the inside, as that of Alex Coffey kind of getting woed up by that of the 51 of Gregory Shaw. That blue get wet machine is trying his best, as Buzzio doing a great job boxing in Alex Coffey. And Zach, Alex Coffey, not a driver that loves to get boxed in. He wants to be aggressive and moving forward at all times.
Coffey is always trying to move forward. I feel like that's the one thing I've learned from watching him through the races I've called. He's always going for it. And oh, there's a big move there, almost 3 wide as Kubinek backs out of it. But Coffey now to the inside of the 51. Going to try to make that pass, but he's diving all the way there. Buzzio, if he did not pull high there, that was going to be a wreck.
He's trying to hold steady somehow. Alex Coffey gets out of the boxing spot, and now to the inside, where he really start to send it to the inside, but it's not going to last for long. Caution, that's a wreck out of turn 4. It's going to be the 57 of Christian DeRoche.
Tough break there as that caution came out while we were having some of the most intense racing right there.
After caution incidences, Alex Coffey and Adam Buzzio making contact with one another.
Oh, man. Very interesting deal there. I think the 7 just lost it in front of Buzzio here. So, ooh, that's ugly scenes to be seen here on the middle of 1 and 2. As we're going to actually get a look at that after what the caution for Christian DeRoche is. We're going to get to see what happened here after the yellow was already out.
And drivers trying to slow down. The yellow, it just came out at this point. Drivers trying to slow down, going into the corner. And Alex Coffey, you're just going to see him, the rear end just seems like it got on the brakes a little bit too hard, maybe shifted down. The rear end just slips as Adam Buzzio gets right to the quarter panel and finishes off the deed.
Oh, man, tough break for Adam Buzzio, because he was already involved in the incident before, now involved in this one. And let's just going to take the 7 sliding back here, and going to slide up into that nose first into the wall. And that might be fast repair needed for the 7, as he's already hasn't used the 1 yet here tonight, but, you know, has gotten that damage fixed up that he had earlier on pit road. And they did a good job of it, and even looking at the car now, these next-gen cars, Sam, they always just continue to prove they are very tough.
There's just certain small little weakness spots, like if you hit directly the wheel into the wall, or if you hit in an angle, or if you just run into someone a little bit too hard. Those are the spots that can get you in trouble, but that's about it. And interesting for themselves. And a little bit of unknowing. I didn't expect to see this. Alex Coffey hit with an EOL.
Interesting there for that too. So, the race control's feeling that maybe they deemed what he did to be not great. I don't, I don't know because the caution was already out. So I guess getting that EOL to push him to the back of the field there after spinning right there in front of the 5 of Buzzio. So interesting calls being made all around, but man, this is been an interesting race. I think that might be my word of the night, even though it seems to be my word a lot of times. It is been one of those nights, a little bit of head scratching moments here and there, but also some just simple mistakes that have added up to be big ones for a lot of these drivers out there.
Yeah, no, we were planning on trying to get a call maybe to talk to that of Adam Buzzio, but he is very busy over the radio trying to talk to drivers and calm tempers down as Coffee goes back to the end of the field line. And I mean, Zach, for Alex Coffee, we were just talking about how aggressive and willing to be, going for everything. Now you send him to the back half of the field, and he's going to be joining a driver I was not expecting to see in the back half of the field. That of Blaze Crawford to the back, extended time in pit road. Looks to be that 76. Maybe had a little bit of damage you want to get repaired on.
I am very intrigued by that. I went and looked at it. I didn't see anything on the car. He actually hopped out of the car and did something. So he had to change something there. I don't know if it was outside of the sim, maybe changing a key binding, something to do to that, because that's the only reason your driver as displayed in the driver's seat would disappear is you're completely out of that car. So yeah, interesting case there, Sam. I'm telling you what, he's gonna have a lot of work to make up, but we've seen how fast he was here tonight. He's got plenty of time still to do it with a lot of these incidents still popping up.
Well, talked about traffic for that of Blaze Crawford. Well, he's going to have even a bigger task as he'll be set all the way back to that at 29th position for our pole sitter, Alex Coffey with the EOL. He'll be all the way back in 28th spot. As up front, it's going to be Cedric Hunter, Gavin Rogers, that Ryan Thomas, Mason Hausman, Cody Reed, and that Dakota Camper going to be our top 6. And before bringing in that Blaze, this was the top, I would say top 4 or even top 2 we were expecting to see each and every week. But man, with the way that Blaze looks here in the first half of this race, I would not be surprised if he's going to be the driver that shakes up who can win the championship at the end of the season. His pace car is off, and we're back to green flag racing.
Great start there from Cedric Hunter. He's able to clear that 77 machine and have a clear run here down into 1. Now is going to be what happens here, because we're seeing different lines. Cedric Hunter running that stacked middle groove that Blaze Crawford has been doing all night. Seems to be the best way to go for those longer runs, but the speed is created up in the 3rd lane, and that's where Gavin Rogers and Ryan Thomas look to drive. So we'll see, can Cedric Hunter hold him back? But I tell you what, you're going to have Mason Hausman also trying everything in his powers to wrecking in the middle of the field there, and I think they keep it straight as somehow somebody saved that. I don't know who that was. I believe it was Carl Pooler, but they get close there on the exit of 4.
They do, as that of Tyler Dangler had to slow down, but a wrecking further behind, and oh no, it's the Roaches. Alex Coffey caught up in that run.
Huge incident again, and Alex Coffey right in the middle of it after getting that EOL. So this has been one of those interesting times here, as it's starting to get more and more built up with the aggression levels, drivers trying to move forward. And I think back there, it all went wrong for that back half of the group.
Looked to be starting around the 13 of Ryan Harrison, it looked like. He got a little bit of contact, I think, that just started off as that back out of the field. It has been a gaggle of cars. They've been constantly 3 wide, almost 4 wide for the majority of this race. And just one slip up certainly is going to be causing the most of this madness for these drivers as we're getting our replay set up here tonight. Again, a big thanks for everyone joining us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. You are watching Wednesday night coverage of the Wicked Racing League, as this is season 2 of the series, only race number 4. And we've got some great races coming up for these drivers. We're heading to Bristol next week. We're going back to Super Speedway Racing in 2 weeks at that of Daytona. But Zach, watch out for this 13. This is where the catalyst is around.
Yeah, I think there's some checking up happening here off the exit of 4 with some guys in front of them. You see Christopher Norris there, a little contact. But here comes Alex Coffey. I understand he's got the speed and the drive here to go forward, but just got to be a little bit more patient sometimes, especially when you're back in this part of the field, and kind of just drives through the 13.
Drives through the 13, then who's going to clip up into the 55 of Amity, and then going to be seeing everyone else just piling into this wreck. And the one who survived going through is going to be that of Blaze Crawford, who seemed to be the only one who really got through immediately, as well as that of Tyler Dangler and that of the 18 as well, sliding on by.
It's a huge incident there, and Blaze Crawford makes it through. It's one of those wild things, and you know, right now we're nearing even that second stage here at lap 90, and Cedric Hunter looking in good position possibly to pull that off for himself in the 31 and get that stage win. That's going to be 10 valuable bonus points. But you know, Gavin Rogers, the champion of last season, he's going to be going for every little thing here to try to get up there and get in position, because he's seen the 76, you know, lose all that track position. That must have a good feeling for him, as I believe in the 76 is again in pit road and just leaving right before the pace car comes out. So I don't know what's going on with the 76 of Blaze Crawford. He's got the restart well back there again.
I mean, maybe putting a little bit of a challenge in for himself, a personal challenge. I don't know what's going on, because I didn't see him get any contact. Maybe feeling like he wanted to be in pit road for just a little bit of more time, as these drivers up front, Cedric Hunter trying to find himself in a victory lane. He dominated the first two stages of our first race of the season at Talladega. Wasn't able to get himself in a victory lane just yet. And talking about not getting a victory lane, I mean, Gavin Rogers, second place, the 77, last season's champion, still yet to get to victory lane after his dominating 8-win championships record-setting season last season. The 77, we know we can get to victory lane. The question is, when will it happen?
That is the question. When will it happen? It's possible it could happen here tonight. We've seen him have a good run so far and have a lot of speed, but is he going to have, you know, the tires to hold him back? Because that seemed like what he was struggling with to end that first stage. These cautions are helping that for sure. But if we do get a long green flag run, has he learned enough to be able to save those rear tires? Because he definitely was holding on to it there when he was in front of Crawford, and Crawford was able to make the easy pass on when that happened. So it's one of those deals where you got to learn as the race goes on. You got to use these stages and these cautions to your availability to help you save those tires. But he's going to have a lot of hard work to do, because that 31 of Cedric Hunter, he's looked very strong too, even on the longer runs, and he's gotten to the lead now. So we'll see if he can hold into position and get himself in a stage victory.
As drivers stacked up and ready to take off, I gotta say, in that third row, Dakota Camper in the 43 up that of 10 positions for themselves. Great job for that Dakota Camper, who's just been under the radar. Feels like every race I say that statement. And here tonight in the top 10, hoping for a top 5 finish if possible. As the pace car pulls off, it's going to be a 7-lap dash to that of our stage 2 break. Top 10 get bonus points, and we're back to green flag racing.
Very close jump there from Cedric Hunter, because that 77 almost kept it to the outside, and that would have been tough to hold off this 77 if he would have got to the outside of the 31. And here coming down the back straightaway, he's got a decent run off, but it's back there where everything's starting to heat up. Mason Halsman there covering off the inside for Cody Reed.
Top 4, top 5, single filing out, and it just continues to practically be side by side all the way through this field. But up front, certainly some great action of our leaders, but saw a little bit of a shuffle on the exit of the corner. That looked to be Cody Reed. Kind of checking up. Oh no! Hard contact on the exit of turn 1. It's the 51 of Gregory Shaw.
Again, it's just piling up, man. This is starting to turn into a little nightmare of a race for some of these guys for sure that have been involved in a lot of these incidents. And Gregory Shaw there just getting turned coming down into turn number 1, and I think it might have been with the help of the 8 machine of Jimmy Kubanek. So we'll see here how it all plays out, but heading down the front straightaway, Kubanek really close to that quarter panel, and I think here the 51's going to clear him, but he's going to cut down across the nose here a little bit to look to maybe make the move on his teammate Alexander Light up ahead, checks up, and that's where the 8 gets into the back of him, and then Gregory Shaw here trying to hold on to this machine head first into the wall.
Hard contact here for the 51, but we're going to continue to let this replay go out because another driver having issues after this spill. No one else hits the 51, but the 57 trying to slow down of Christian DeRoches. You see locking up in front is Harrison, and that little bit of a checkup of causing the 57 to quickly dart down, gets too loose, and overcorrection, and throws him to the outside wall by himself.
Yeah, just head first into it, man. This is similar scenes to what happened to Gregory Shaw there with that head first hit, both of those drivers require damage flags, and they're going to have to be working on that for sure to get every little thing they can out of these cars. But with the timing of this caution, I don't believe we are going to see the stage yellow come out till after, but it looks like maybe they have made the decision of a stage yellow because a lot of these drivers pitted.
A lot of them coming into pit road. I don't remember hearing over the radio that was the stage, but looks to be potentially the call there. It was so close to that 5-lap window. Usually it's on that of the 5 laps till if there's a caution at that point, that the drivers will be calling that the stage, as the rest of the field does come into pit road, except for the drivers up inside of our top 7. They're deciding to stay out.
That they are trying to stay out here and gain some track position. Dakota Camper into 43, the 2 of Steven Borbell, the 8 of Jimmy Kubanek, who was just involved in an incident, and Brandon Zimmerman, the first race for him tonight, breaking up into the top 5, and also got Adam Buzzio in the 5 machine breaking his way into the top 5. It looks like a few other guys are looking now to come down pit road. It looks like Chad Bean, Steve Cole, and Michael G. and Mitty.
Which is now going to just leave us with our top 4 that have decided not to come into pit road. I think the reasoning why, most likely here, Zach, they're probably feeling the fact that we will get another restart before this stage is done, which if we do, that would just be a 1-lap shootout. I don't think we're going to be seeing a 1-lap shootout here tonight as the drivers getting set and ready to take off. As the drivers are getting themselves into a situation for this, I mean, Zach, certainly a lot of drivers, a lot of different feelings on how this race has been going, but one driver has been working through the field a couple of times here tonight. That's the 5 of Adam Buzzio. Let's try to get a call on this 5 machine and see how he's feeling here tonight.
Buddy?
Adam, sorry for pulling you away. It's Sam and Zach on the booth. You got us?
Yeah, you're good, man. You're good. I thought I lost Steven for a second. I wasn't sure what was going on.
We thought we would pull you up in the booth, get your thoughts. You've been in a lot of action here tonight. You've been around almost everyone, 2, 3, almost 4 wide at times. How are you feeling, though, in the cockpit through all of this madness?
I'm frustrated. Well, yeah, I'm trying to shake it off. I was frustrated earlier. We're quick. We weren't good enough to qualify in the top 5 or anything, but we're quick. We seem to be able to make passes, but we've gotten caught up in some stuff, man. Which happens at a track like this. You know, it's close quarters race and the track's slick. But took a chance there on that last yellow to make an early pit stop to try to get out of that in the back there. It's just so hard to make any progress once you get shuffled back there, and it paid off. So hopefully we can just stay up here with our teammate and carry on.
Well, we hope for the best as we're getting back to Green Flag Racing. Good luck, Adam, and hopefully we'll be talking to you later on tonight.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
As that's going to be Adam Buzzio in the 5 machine. Going to be starting up here in 3rd place. As he's also going to have Zimmerman, Steven Borbell, and Dakota Camper up in front of him as the drivers are set, ready to go. It's the Idealise 200 here at New Hampshire. 10th caution, our 10th try at it. Here we go, down into turn number 1.
We'll see if this is a 1-lap shootout or they did call that the stage. This is going to be the interesting thing for me here. But Dakota Camper battling with Borbell for that lead. Looks like he'll clear up there, but you get to see here off the front bumper, it is a lot of mayhem happening right in front of this field.
A lot of mayhem as drivers trying to get themselves sorted. And it's up front going to be Adam Dakota Camper, Steve Borbell, Adam Buzzio, all setting up for themselves as drivers deeper in the field having some of their issues here tonight. But across the line, looks to be no yellow. We keep it green, and Zach, I think we might have been right on the fact that everyone came to pit road. That was the stage break.
That it was, Sam. It was the stage break, and there was some big action happening in the back of the field. Blaze Crawford involved in a major incident down the back straightaways. I think he got a little bit of contact. I can't tell, it was either Tyler Dingler or the 38 of Christopher Norris, one of those 2 cars, but just major incident for one of them.
It looked to be Tyler Dingler when I went back to go see, just trying to get a better entry into the corner, and it was too much and a hard hit for that Blaze Crawford, who's now going to be about 7 seconds off the leaders. But up front, middle of the pack, it's side-by-side chaos. Is starting to see that Gavin Rogers trying to find his way through this field.
Trying to find his way, navigate his way up front, hopefully, as this is all just stacked up now with drivers on different sets of tires, different strategies, all galore. And right now, the 31 and the 77, the 2 drivers.
Cody
Reed goes around.
Oh no, it's our winner from Nashville Super Speedway, Mason Hausman. Hard contact into the barriers as the 78 tries to get himself moving, but that is required damage for the 78, who had already used his fast repair. Mason Hausman is done here tonight.
That he is. I think it was, I thought Reed there may have just spun it out himself, but I didn't get to see it. It was actually the 78 making contact, and Halsman, who's been involved in multiple incidents here tonight, just getting a little bit too aggressive, and I think we'll get to see that on the replay here. So unfortunate his night's over, but when you got that no fast repair left, you got to kind of, chill out, because if you don't, you will be involved in an incident very quickly, and your night could be quickly over like it is for the 78.
I mean, I'm not expecting much on the fact of trying to chill out. The 78 has been on the aggressive train. He's kind of mirroring that of Alex Coffey in some ways, on the fact that they are both very aggressive on track. And we're going to be seeing here, watch out for that black and green 25. He's going to have that of the black and white 78 to the inside, gets back into the throttle. It's going to make contact with the quarter panel, and then they both are going to find themselves spinning to that of the pit road entry. And it's those water barrels that's really going to be hurting this 78. As the contact's there, it's the extra bump from that, it looks to be from Plord, that actually gets Hausman spun around, and then bam for both drivers. And that is a required damage flag for the 78. Then somehow, Zach, Cody Reed, not required damage.
Again, it shows, like you said, it takes certain hits in this next-gen car. It's just very, very awkward moments where a certain hit can break the wheel, break the suspension, and you could be in a big-time trouble. And luckily for Reed, he didn't get that. So, and Halsman got the worst end of that. So, it's just one of those deals where that's the way it plays out for these drivers. But, man, oh, man, this is just definitely turned into an interesting little bit of a event here tonight at New Hampshire, and especially with $100 on the line. I know a lot of drivers are going to be definitely really frustrated coming out of here.
As drivers getting themselves over the radio, going to be giving out penalties, and this is an awkward one being thrown out. I believe there could be a penalty given out to that Cody Reed in that incident there, Zach, on the fact that for that race control, feel like the 25 may have come down in front of that of Hausman.
Yeah, that's a tough call to make. Hausman out of the session now. He's completely out of the race as his damage is there, and they feel Cody Reed has caused that incident. And yeah, I mean, I guess you could go back and look at and see that that could be a possibility, but at the end of the day, that's the race control's call, and I just maybe don't feel that was possibly. I mean, he definitely came, myself even looking back at it a little bit, he definitely came down the track a little bit. I just feel like it was maybe a little bit of a racing deal there between that group of drivers.
You got one driver that's able to get back on the throttle easily, the other one not so much, and bada bing, bada boom, both drivers going to be spun around. But tonight, 11 cautions for ourselves as we're on lap 96 of 160. And Zach, we talked about the stages. They are now done, dusted. We're now just taking it to the end here tonight for the Wicked Racing League. Race number 4, you look at the picture at this moment, Stephen Borbell, who's leading this race, is not pitted for over that of almost 60 laps now. So he hasn't been in pit road since before stage 1 for this 2 machine. Adam Buzzio came into pit road at our stage break, and the rest of the field, they've all came in at our stage break as well. So for Stephen Borbell, what are you thinking for a driver here who is on extremely old tires, on old fuel, but is still running decent lap times up front?
It's kind of showing what I thought might be a case here coming in tonight of just how the tires kind of come back alive under these caution breaks. So it's one of those deals where I feel like heat is what you battle most when it comes to these short tracks with tires. Just as the run goes on, there will be some drop off due to the heat building up, but it's not a lot of times due to the tire wear. And if you can get the temperature back somewhat in a reasonable range, you can actually put down some pretty quick laps. So we'll see if you can hold them off, but definitely going to have a major distance here with 60 laps on the tires.
As we are getting ourselves prepared, pace car is off. That of the Idealise 200 is back to green flag racing here at New Hampshire. And it's going to be the teammates, Stephen Borbell, Adam Buzzio, going to be up front trying to pull away, and they continue to stay side by side. And it seems like it's going to be Buzzio gifted the lead as Borbell trying to hold off the quick striker of Alex Coffey.
Yeah, it's Brad Delph in that 7 machine there, or in the 7 machine Alex Coffey there battling. It looks like Coffee just going to be too strong around the outside to make that pass, but the group behind him 3 wide, the 31 is Cedric Hunter. He's really trying to make something happen. As you can see from the back camera here, there is action all through that group there as they're trying to make it through without any type of incident. They're scattering on the front straightaway.
They're scattering because it's going to be that of the 33 of Jamie Pollard, who gets a little bit wiggly out of the exit of the corner. Also, other drivers struggling to get onto the brakes. The 20 machine and Nigel Christensen is going to go backwards, losing 3 spots. But talking about the number 3, they're 3 wide here, trying to make the pass for 7th place.
Yeah, they are trying to make every little thing work here. Carl Pollard here trying to hold back the 31 as he's trying to make the move, and it looks like he will clear here on the late exit of the corner and get past him to move himself up into the 8th position. But Gavin Rogers, the driver that he restarted pretty much with, he's up to 4th. So it's just showing picking and choosing your lanes, and the right way to go is the way you got to really move forward here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
Race is not over just yet, and that's why we go back as a driver into the grass. Saw the tire tracks for a quick moment. It's Tyler Dangler. We keep it green as that of the 96 into the tire wall, and that's usually a night done once you get stuck there.
Yeah, I'm surprised he doesn't have a required damage flag after both of those hits, and I think he just towed it. Actually, he did get the required damage as soon as he hit the tire barrier. So the tire barrier was enough to do it. The initial hit with the guardrail wasn't, and that's going to bring it into his night here, as it's just been chaos and mayhem is what we expected coming into it. And you can see here from Blaze Crawford's point of view, he's trying to move himself back forward after making, you know, a bunch of pit stops here in this race.
Oh, drivers ahead. It's Alex Coffey. All the smoke. Drivers trying to get out of the way as Coffey's spilling his way back up into the field. Yellow flag is out, and multitudes of drivers collected in this one.
And just say, ooh, it looked like Ryan Thomas was the driver that got Coffey, and that just caused that huge stack up. Cedric Hunter also kind of involved in it too there later, and Nigel Christensen in the 20 just kind of right into him after this incident happens. And you'll get to see this here. Thomas just really hard onto the inside lane and just much more speed being carried, and Alex Coffey nowhere to go for him, and that sends him around right in front of this 40 and this 31. And you're going to see them both try to check up the best they possibly can, and just the 31 there into the back of the 40, and that's going to send Coffey back forward. As now here comes the 20 of Christensen.
Christensen just saw smoke. He was just trying his best to figure out where he needed to place that 20 machine and just nowhere to go there at that time. As drivers having their issues, we're going to ride on board and get a chance to see what it's like. I mean, this smoke, Zach, it certainly is showing a lot of troubles, especially on this mile course.
The smoke can be very blinding, especially if you're right in the mix of it. And right here, you're going to see Christensen. He's going to try to make a move, but really just nowhere to go. He has cars to his outside, and the only thing he could have done there was maybe go and slow down and go more to the inside and go on the apron, but he couldn't tell probably if that car was going to slide down the racetrack. So tough break there for Christensen, who is majorly damaged.
Majorly damaged, and that is going to bring us back to live coverage. And with us being with less than 60 laps to go, we're going to take a quick commercial break here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us on your Wednesday night on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. You're watching the Wicked Racing League for that of the Idealise 200 at New Hampshire. This is race number 4. We're going to go side by side so you don't miss a thing, as the drivers, they're getting angry, they're getting frustrated, but we still got a lot of racing to go. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Wicked Racing League on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name's Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall. Big thanks to Robert Moore Jr. Running Productions in the background as drivers trying to pull away from the rest of the field. That's Adam Buzzio, Gavin Rogers surviving at this current time, and really our whole entire top five single filed out. First driver side by side. It's going to be that of Carl Pooler as well as Alex Light. But we look up here in fourth place. Certainly some drivers we haven't talked about a lot up front. Lane Wilson, Zach, we saw this driver struggling, caught up in some early issues, and now up inside of the top five.
Great turnaround for him after that one incident there with him and Adam Buzzio, who's just trying to drive away into the sunset up front.
Oh, issues. Multiple drivers caught up on that of 1 and 2. It's Alex Coffey and that of Brandon Zimmerman spun around.
And just like that, more and more incidents keep coming out, and looks like it was multiple incidents actually there. So we had like 2 wrecks happening at simultaneous times. We had Zimmerman getting punted from the rear end, I believe by Chad Bean. Then you also had the 7 machine of Coffee getting into Kubanek, and that kind of spun him around. I mean, it's just been an eventful night for a lot of these drivers, and you'll get to see this here. This is the incident up ahead, and then even behind this, Chad Bean gets in the back of Brandon Zimmerman and sends him into the wall. So it's been one of those deals.
So there, Jimmy Kubanek just coming down slightly into the 7. That one contact just getting way too unsettled. Overcorrects is the 7 machine. Then you're going to be seeing that of Gregor Shaw, who also is going to spin out by himself. That's actually the 3rd incident that is going to bring out a yellow. But Brandon Zimmerman, this is what it technically brought out our caution flag here again tonight, is you're going to be seeing that 9 machine. Very aggressive entry, using up Brandon Zimmerman as his brake, and didn't even slow down the 9. It just completely spun around Zimmerman. And then as that's going on, going to be Gregory Shaw, that 51. He was the 3rd car after that of the 65. The 7 got spun around. The 51 self-spinning it as he gets onto the apron, as we'll see the 3rd separate incident that came out on this yellow.
Very, very tough breaks for a lot of drivers. And, I mean, yeah, I don't know what the 9 was doing. It looks like they made contact down the front straightaway. I mean, you never want to call something intentional, but he was never going to make the corner, even if Zimmerman was there. He was probably going to be in the grandstands with how fast he was going into the corner. So just too over aggressive in the back of the pack, just making bad decisions from a lot of these drivers, and it's just turning into a mess out here.
I mean, I know, Zach, from us up at the booth, we're still trying to keep our energy high, but it is starting to get to that point of a race where the cautions are kind of coming at a normal rate, where it's kind of becoming a lull for these drivers. Could that be the factor of fatigue that's really causing these drivers to have that struggle? Because they've been out there on track for that of over an hour and 25 minutes, and they continue to kind of do what we call Pace Simulator 2023. And that could be one of the issues right now.
It is a huge thing when you're a driver. I mean, you would think, it is definitely tough from up here in the booth to try to keep your energy level high when this is happening. And, you get constant breaks over and over and over again. But it's even harder, in my opinion, as a driver, because when you're in the driver's seat, you just want to race. And you have these moments where it's just like incidents happening all over the track, just happening, and you don't have control over it, and then you start to lose your frustration and you start to build that up, and then next thing you know, you're in the incident causing the incident. So it's one of those things that can snowball very quickly. And as a driver myself, I know it can get frustrating out there when you're, like you said, Pace Simulator 2023, because it just builds up. It's one of those things that you're just tired of it. You're like, well, I got to get passes done when I can now, because we're never going to have a run. I need to get them done on the restarts. So it's just how it's been playing out here tonight, and these drivers are definitely having a tough time of making it through it.
That they certainly are, as admins did not feel like everyone was grouped up in time, so they're going to be adding an extra lap of pacing for these drivers, which gives us time. Yes, we might be struggling, surging along, but that doesn't mean that we have to stop in other factors. I know one aspect that we have been excited, ramped up, can't wait for it. It's our Daytona 500. Zach, it is just that of 10 days away.
It's crazy to say that, Sam. it feels like just a month ago we were starting all this up and getting it up. The ideas were starting a couple months ago, but there's still 2 slots available out there, and there could be a few more opening up on February 4th here in a few days because a few drivers have still yet to put their minimum donation in. So make sure you check out and join our Discord, and also check out that Tiltify link there I just posted where you can go and donate directly to our charity and help, Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, because right now we're over $700. We want to try to get that thing to 1,000. And if we can get the 1,500 even, we are doing big things, folks. So we got to appreciate everybody out there in the community, the drivers, everybody being a huge part of this, because without them, it wouldn't be nothing.
Yeah, it really wouldn't be. And this is our second time ever doing this type of charity event. Last year, it was that of a 6-hour endurance race preparing for the 6 hours of Daytona. And this year, doing a full Daytona 500 race. We're much more in tune with the oval racing. So it feels like a little bit more in our wheelhouse. And it's so excited. Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, what a great cause. They're helping to try to find a cure. And as well, the money that is extra goes on to help those that are dealing with this terrible disease. As drivers stacked up and ready to get rolling, some interesting stuff in the background. Jimmy Kubinek has been disqualified. Too many incidences for the 8 machine. That's going to be one more position grabbed as Adam Buzzio, Kevin Rogers, we're back to green flag racing.
Great start from Adam there. He's able to clear out and get a clear entry into 1. Now we'll get to see Ken Roberts make something happen. And in the background, Blaze Crawford trying to make stuff happen on the apron once again. He's been trying that all night, and he's been doing a good job on the restarts to actually gaining good spots doing that. So it takes a lot of talent and a lot of speed to do that, and he's been doing it there again, dropping it nice and low, and it's going to be 3 wide here on the exit. It's just, can he get the run off? And it looks like he will.
He's going to get the run off, mainly because everyone had to back off. What a save by the 76 there as he got wiggly out of the corner. That transition from the apron to the racetrack, a little bit slick, but able to get that run off for himself. But it helps when drivers ahead of you are wiggling as well and checking up the lanes that you're not in. There's no contact. Oh no, it's Camper into Blaze as they're going to be bringing out the yellow. More drivers piling in. It's Mike Thomas once again coming in with the Arca break for the 1. That is the second time this season it's been a bad one.
That it has been, man. And Camper there getting loose off the exit takes the 76 out. If you're Blaze Crawford, you definitely got to be a little frustrated from these incidents for sure there. But, I mean, I don't know what's put him back there with all these pit stops he's made tonight. Again, I don't know if it was personal decisions to make those pit stops, issues he was trying to fix. But personally, he's put himself back there. And that's what you get when you get put in the back of the field.
I'm hoping that maybe it's decisions making that he wants to get back there. Maybe there was something that he fixed on the car. If it's a put a challenge out for yourself decision, well, you certainly put yourself in a difficult spot being back half the field, as Blaze Crawford was really dominating this race, being up front, winner of stage 1, did not get stage 2. The 76 now going to fall even deeper in the field. The one positive that Blaze can actually take, though, he's been caught up in some pretty nasty wrecks here, Zach, but yet to use his fast repair here tonight.
Yeah, and even looking at that hit on his car, these cars in iRacing, they are tanks, man. Like, again, it takes certain hits to break the wheels and break the suspensions, but it just seems like these things just last through some big hits there on the wall for Crawford. I mean, he was involved in an incident earlier, so this is interesting to see. They're lucky the cars last as good as they have, because if not, a lot of these cars would have been knocked out of this race personally already.
A lot of troublesome spots they've been dealing with for themselves, but certainly some drivers trying to stay up front as much as they can. And a driver that finds himself in fourth place. I'm curious on how this 18 is feeling. We talked about it. He was finding himself in some issues of being up front, but caught up in some wrecks here or there, but has recovered to 4th. Let's get our thoughts from the 18 machine. Blaine Wilson, it's Sam and Zach up at the booth. You got us?
I got you.
Well, Blaine, you have fallen deeper in the field. You've climbed your way back up. You're up 11 spots. You're in 4th place. How are you feeling getting ready for this restart?
This whole track is pretty sketchy. It's super easy to lose it, and it's super easy to get too tight. There's not a lot of room to make passes happen. So it's just survival at this point. And got the speeding penalty earlier, and then we got wrecked out, but we're just surviving. That's it.
You are Blaine, man. It's been a wild ride for you, nonetheless, like you've been saying. You know, with all these constant cautions and yellows like this, how hard is it to find a rhythm as a driver?
I did a lot of practice and found a line I really liked, and that's really what I'm trying to stick to. When that line gets taken away, that's when it becomes a lot more edgy, especially up high. You definitely can't go down low here. Super bad to do that, but just trying to stay in this groove that I found and hope it pays off, and so far it is.
Well, we hope that it will continue on, Blaine, and we hope that we'll be talking to you later on this race. Congratulations on being in fourth, and good luck for the rest of this run.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
That's going to be the 18 of Blaine Wilson, trying to stay up front the best that it can. And Zach, I mean, talking to Blaine there, I mean, what are you going to take away from those thoughts of his?
Well, it's a good point he's brought up. This track's got not a lot of space to pass. It's got very treacherous moments all around, lurking every single corner, and you got to be quick to survive it. And if you can't survive the wrecks, then it's going to be tough to make it out. So he's exactly on point there with that, and he's done a good job of getting back up there after a speeding penalty involved in a wreck. So this has been an up and down night, but I think everybody, it's been one of those nights for sure.
As drivers stacked up, ready to get rolling, it's going to be Adam Buzzio as well as Gavin Rogers. Buzzio's been doing a great job on these restarts, pulling away. We haven't had a long enough run to really get a sense of who's used up the tires more between these two. And as well, that of Alex Coffey still in this race. He's back in 26th position. How will Blaze Crawford try to cut through the field? Time will tell, as well as drivers outside of our top five. Good to be seeing some drivers making some great runs as we're back to green flag racing here for the Idea Lease 200 down into turn number one.
Great start again for Buzzio. He's been controlling this race from up front, and this is looking good for him as side by side for second, as all the field is side by side pretty much. Rogers is looking to make a move, but Roberts makes a huge block on Cedric Hunter, and he has to back out of that, or that would have been a wreck.
And for both of those drivers, I mean, a block at this time, interesting to see because don't believe these drivers supposed to wreck as Alex Light gets loose. Back up in the field. Somehow they keep it straight. And green, no, I take that back. It's a big one. And they're trying not to clog up the rest of the track.
That they are. It's just been a clogged up front straightaway from a lot of these incidents. And Alexander Light there involved in that one. I don't think he got any help. He may have got a little bit. He got a little bit. It seemed like, I don't know if he was turning down the racetrack or he just got a little bit loose in the center. But Christopher Norris there in the 38 to be the one to hit the back bumper, and that caused that major incident. So big stuff. Mike Thomas is involved in it. It's just kind of all over the place. It's got to be expected at this point.
It's gonna be, I mean, that should be called a racing deal. I mean, Norris got back into the throttle, and I don't think Light would have spun out there if he wasn't pushed and bumped around. Alex Light was looking strong. All those Limitless drivers up in the top 10. That was great to see. And it gets thrown away in an instant as we're getting our replay set up here. A couple of drivers coming into pit road for required damage, as there are quite a few of them. Dallas Manis, Cody Reed, Alexander Light, Mike Thomas, Christopher, that of Richard Wolsifer, and Jamie Pollard. This is our biggest cluster of drivers being taken out of this race. And Zach, watching the run, it just seems like the 38 ran a little bit faster and gonna be getting right into that 6's back quarter panel.
Yeah, right there on that lower groove in the 6. I don't know if he got loose at all or not. It seemed like he came down the racetrack a tiny bit, but Christopher Norris there definitely not checking up that well and just got right into that left rear quarter panel, where that's the worst spot you can get into somebody. That will literally just send you spinning, and that's what happened to Alexander Light. Is he got hit by Cody Reed there in the 25. That ends Reed's night after winning last week. Down up into the car up ahead of him, and I mean, it's just mayhem. Again, these front straightaway incidents like this is to be expected when stuff like that starts happening.
Also seeing some other drivers piling in there late. As you see the one get involved again with another wreck and a couple of other drivers. Just nowhere to go. Gregory Shaw going to park it. And I think he was going to be following behind to help Alex Light if Light was not able to make it to pit road. Luckily was able to, as now we got more drivers calling it official. We already had Steven Stimpy, and he had to step away to go help with his child. Then Mason Hausman, just too many incidences, didn't have enough fast repairs. He was out of this race. Jimmy Kubanek was disqualified. Taken out of the server was the 8 machine. Cody Reed is calling it a night. No more fast repairs for the 25. And Zach, we only have just that of 15 cautions in. How many more and how many drivers will be left to stand, as New Hampshire has been a war ground for a lot of these drivers?
That it has been, Sam. It's been one of those nights. We have the possibility still to hit that 20 mark for the caution. So don't forget about that yet, folks. We're here on at 15 at this point. So it's been a tough one up to here now. But if we do get a green run, it's going to open up the door for a lot of drivers here. I mean, that last caution right there, kind of interesting calls from a lot of drivers to come down pit road for some situations. Cedric Hunter, Christopher Norris. I mean, Christopher Norris was involved in the incident, so I'm not too surprised by him coming down. A few other guys involved in it. But the Cedric Hunter one's a little head scratching for me. It's just, I don't think there'd be no reason to, really come down pit road right now and take yourself out of the track position of being up front. Just put yourself in an incident.
Yeah, I mean, we've already seen how it's been difficult just to see, Blaze Crawford. He's up to 15th, and it's just been tough to get anywhere moving forward. And went to look at the history books, Zach, as this is only the second season of Wicked Racing League. There's only race 4 of the second season, but one race does have the most cautions. That was Martinsville back in season 1. 21 cautions was the most cautions ever in Wicked. And here tonight, hoping not to get too many more. So I would imagine they were hoping they wouldn't break that record, but at this pace, it certainly is possible, especially when you throw in the factor that there are green-white checkers if needed.
That there is, man. There is a good chance that we could need those. So we'll see how that all works out. But this restart here with some different strategies all around, everybody trying to go for a win here, it's kind of opened up the door for a possible first-time winner. I mean, Adam Buzzio here, he'd be looking for that first-time win if he can pull it off.
As Adam Buzzio up front, he's had the great restarts. He's going to need a couple of more as they're lingering back from the pace car. Drivers giving some big bumps. TJ Roberts wants to get rolling as we are green once again here in New Hampshire.
And just like that, another great start from the 5 machine here is the 3 trying to work his way forward there. He's got the 18 of Wilson up top on him, and now the 77 of Gavin Rogers holds on the second as the rest of the field back farther just scattering. There's just 3 wide back here around the 31 machine. I see the pink car as it's all over the place.
Driver slamming the wall pretty hard. That was going to be that of Ryan Harrison dealing with some damage, but at turn number 4, starting that lap 128, it's Adam Buzzio still leading the way for that 5 machine. The 77 Gavin Rogers trying to close in on the gap. But the drivers, I'm curious on how well they're running right now. That TJ Roberts still holding strong for himself as drivers contact exit of turn 2. Alex Coffey going to be involved with this one.
Yeah, and just again involved in another incident for the 7. It's been a eventful night for him and the rest of the field. It seems like he's kind of been right in the middle of either getting wrecked or being in, maybe even the cause of the wreck here a couple times tonight. So it's just been up and down for the 7 as he showed a lot of speed, but it's just when you're involved in those incidents, it's just continual stuff like that. So I think just a little too deep into one for himself and up into the car up ahead of him and losing that rear end and right in front of the rest of the other drivers. And Brandon Zimmerman was the innocent bystander there, just minding his own business while the 7 overcorrects into him.
Yeah, drivers, I know Race Control, they have had a busy night tonight. When you've got this amount of cautions coming out, you've got to keep yourself up there trying to see with clarity on how drivers are racing. But man, it's just a lot of hard action. Drivers trying to keep themselves steady, and drivers making a little bit of trickery on who want to come into pit road. No one going to be coming in as Adam Buzzio still leads the way.
I think Buzzio's playing his cards right. This is the right position to be in here coming down to the end of this race, in my opinion, is staying up front, staying out, just riding these cautions, because when you're pacing under these laps, nobody can pass you. And if we keep getting them, then he's going to just have to get continual good, clean restarts, and he'll be in position to pull this thing off. So I'm interested to see how it works, but man, this is it's been a tough one for sure for a lot of other drivers, and I think some other ones definitely go be looking to try to make up for some of the spots they lost, and that can only lead to more incidents.
More and more incidences could be coming out here tonight. Main reason why we are now going to be 30 to go, and drivers that have fast repairs I'm shocked to say this, Zach, but still, over half of the field still has a fast repair to work with, which means their safety net to go crazy, be battering rams, it's still eligible to be utilized.
That they are. It's still eligible to be going out there and using those cars up that haven't been used up somehow already. I mean, it just again shows how tough these cars are, and I'm interested to see because this is a good topic I think for coming in the future for iRacing. I know, we had the concussion issue for drivers in the NASCAR Cup Series with these next gen cars being so stiff and just not a lot of give zones in the car. So I'm interested to see with that updated rear clip added to these cars, a little bit of an update to the front end of these cars. Will the damage model change here on iRacing to allow, some bigger damage? Because now with those cars, if you could back them into the wall, they're going to completely just destroy the rear end now from where now it used to with the clip that they currently have in this car still is very tough. It takes a lot of big hits to destroy it. So I'm interested to see if that kind of comes into factor here in iRacing because definitely these cars at some point, almost in my opinion, are just a little bit too tough.
Just a tad bit. Again, you really got to hit those wheel wells. That's hitting directly on the wheel seems to be the only place, or hitting the front bumper extremely hard and blowing the engine are the only true two ways to really get terminal damage. And we've seen some drivers be able to body slam each other pretty equally, and when you hit someone, flesh with the, side panels, you're gonna be all right. It's the drivers that have been hitting awkwardly that have been mainly the innocent victims that have found themselves being knocked out of this race. The drivers that have been aggressive, trying to push forward, majority of them are still running. So it means the attempts and potential chances of some more cautions still high. As that Abuzio still leads the way with Gavin Rogers, Blaine Wilson, Ryan Thomas, Nigel Christensen, TJ Roberts, as well as Stephen Morbell, Carl Pooler, and Brad Delph, and Johnny Shade. I haven't talked about the 47 that much. Johnny Shade up in the top 10.
Great run for him there in the 47. So that's great to see him break into that top 10. And these races are built on attrition right now. So if you can just survive it, get to the end, keep your track position, you're going to be in a great spot.
Space car pulls up. Biggest mover so far in the race. Steve Cole in the 96, back in 14th position. But up front, Adabuzio, another fantastic start.
Yeah, he's got that down right now. He has been in a perfect position pretty much every single restart to have clear track coming off the corner, but 3 wide in the background, as I believe that's Blaze Crawford and Brad Delph and them, and they're beating and banging, heading down the back straightaway as Delph just slid right up into the 76.
And 76 gets into Johnny Shea. They're going to continue to stay side by side. 4 wide, potentially here for that a 9th place, able to get themselves sorted somehow as Blaze Crawford, a flip has been switched. This 76 is now cracked back into the top 10.
He's looking to get himself back up there. No more of those, untimely pit stops that he's been making. So I think he feels like now it's just time to go. But behind this group, Cedric almost losing it, but they're wrecking in the back.
Hold on, it's going to be the 96 behind that gets into the outside wall. It's going to be right in front of Tyler Dangler. We keep it green as they were not completely sideways. As up front, going to be seen at the 55, trying to figure out how to get by that of the 13. No yellow. And that could be a blessing for the drivers up front, Zach, because this could keep us staying in a green flag run with everyone trying to get spaced out.
That it very well could, Sam. This is exactly what a lot of them want to see. They want to click some of these laps off and then at some point maybe get another caution to kind of take that all away, especially for Adam Buzzio up front in the 5, and there's the caution.
As the yellow flag comes out, it's going to be that of Alex Light and others spun around. That was the 56 who found himself getting spun around of Johnny Shade. That's right next to Brad Delph. Both drivers not giving each other any space. And Brad Delph, we saw similar notions of drivers running into one another, of that of Chad Bean in the 9. And Zach, I would say right here, the 14 just had no way of surviving this corner.
Yeah, just not going to make the corner. The 47 there looking to turn into the corner, the 14 right on the quarter panel, and you can see the 14 just not going to even make the corner there with that. And then Alexander Light there, innocent bystander up top, gets involved in it. Then you're going to see DeRoches, I think, coming there and just T-bone the 47 of Johnny Shea, who's been having a great run all night. And just like that, you're going to see so many drivers with, incidents and required flags here. So it's just continuing to pile up. As you can see, the 96 trying to drive, and that thing is just broken.
Actually, I think he just looped it on his own. He's fine. He was a self-spin on his own, able to get by, and will continue to race on. As Johnny Shade gonna be with some required damage, and luckily for Johnny Shade, does have a fast repair, so his race is not officially done. Dusted, but he's gonna have to take a tow as his engine is blown up. 17 cautions, Zach. Will the record be broken? It's 21 back at Martinsville when these drivers had that record. At this pace, I think it's possible, especially on the fact that the drivers were finding themselves with these cautions and we're expecting them to get worse and worse because everyone's trying to get up front.
If I was a betting man, I'd have to say yes. I think we're going to get there. It's not cleaned up at all. The drivers are going for everything. It's every man for themselves at this point. There's nothing stopping them from continuing it. And again, with all these cars still able to run out here and so many fast repairs still on the table, there's still going to just be a bunch of incidents, I think, coming down all the way to the checker flag of this race. So I think we could possibly get to 21, maybe even 22, especially with the green white checkers available to them. I mean, this opens up the door for a lot of possibilities, and definitely a tough night that I think a lot of drivers are going to be wanting to move on to for the next weeks.
I don't know if we have our wall set up just yet, but the drivers been running a lot here tonight, trying to get themselves sorted and into themselves into this race. But Zach, I know that it's been a long night of drivers trying to make it through this race. They've been out on track for almost 2 hours now as they're getting themselves situated on figuring out how to get to the end of this race.
Yeah, they're trying to figure it all out. And, again, I said going into the next couple weeks, we got Bristol next week. So just be prepared for more of this. It's going to be a long 2 weeks here. And then they head to Daytona where hopefully they can get some good racing in there themselves. I mean, even Bristol, they could get some good racing if it spreads out and gets well. It's just tonight, New Hampshire has not mixed with this group. They've been very, very left and right, all over the place type of deal. So it's going to be tough to come back from this one, especially with a lot of drivers, I feel like, in a tough mental state after this. But we get to see that wall of cameras, and it's looking good as they get to talk here under their pace laps.
Yeah, I mean, getting under through the pace lap is going to be the key thing for these drivers. I mean, you touched on it. We're going to Bristol next week. I want to give big kudos to these drivers because they did have issues at Bristol, but it wasn't as bad as this. They only had that of 12 cautions when they were there before. Let's take a look at our wall of drivers as they have been, majority of them in this space, pacing, getting ready for these restarts where it's been chaotic madness. Well, let's see how they can survive on this restart as we're coming up to lap 140 of 160. And we take it to the end. Adam Buzzio is on the green, going through the gears as the drivers enter that turn number 1.
Great start from Buzzio there once again as Blaine Wilson's going to hold on the third with Rogers right behind him in the 77, or in front of Wilson there in the 77 as they come off of turn 2. But going to be the driver to look out for, I think, here coming up through is that 76 of Crawford. He had so much speed earlier in this race. He's worked his way up to 7th now, along with Cedric Hunter up to 8th. Well, I'm seeing some smoking in the background, so got to be careful here to keep it green.
Everyone able to keep it straight for themselves, not going to be getting into any trouble just yet as they enter turn number 1. Everyone just trying to hit their marks for now. But certainly we saw drivers, others having their issues, and another one is that of Alexander Light, going to be up in the outside wall, losing over that of 8 positions and more, as he's going to be trying to stay stable, but the driver on the move, it's Blaze Crawford. And if anyone was going to try to go through this field, we knew it was going to be the 76. Zach, I don't think anyone would have thought otherwise. He was the odds-on favorite to win here tonight.
Yeah, he has been, and he's going to need to do this quickly because if cautions come out, you get stuck in a bad position. You're not going to be able to make those moves, but he's done a great job here already to get up to Ryan M. Thomas, and he's got much fresher tires than a lot of these guys up here. Cedric Hunter's got fresher tires than right behind him, but this group up in front of them all have worn-out tires. If this race goes, 10, 15 laps here green, these tires are going to start to heat up, and that's where you're going to see this 60 or 76 coming to his best run.
As this field has been trying to just survive their way forward. The 76, he put himself in some very chaotic moments of this race. He found himself being spun around, still has not used his fast repair. But the 76 is still with fresh rubber, showing he's the one to watch out for. Now up to 4th place and catching up to that of Blaine Wilson. But the leader right now, Adam Buzzio, Zach, I've been watching his line the last couple of laps. It is very awkward the way that Adam Buzzio is trying to get around this track.
Yeah, he's running up in the 4th lane almost. It's so awkward for sure, and he's making it work. My concern is, you open the door up so much that someone can really make that big move to the inside. We'll see how it works out for him, because right here, he's going to have a hungry set of drivers again, well up the racetrack, right into that dash line. Now he's going to cut back across with Gavin Rogers there in that 2nd position. But it was coming here to 16 to go. We're getting some good racing right up here up front.
As drivers trying to catch up to that of Adam Buzzio. Last lap, fastest driver was that Blaze Crawford. Just about 100th slower was Adam Buzzio, our leader. Buzzio, if he keeps at this pace and this race stays green, should be able to win this race. But staying green, going to be a tough task, especially when the fact that you've got drivers side by side, almost 3 wide, riding each other back in 7th place, is they are 3 wide now for that of 8th.
Gregory Shaw right in the middle of it.
Oh,
They're
no.
up in the wall.
And it's going to be Nigel Christensen trying to lock down the tires, but that's going to bring out the yellow as Richard Wolsifer going to be spinning out on his, I believe he might have got a little bit of help. No, it looked like it was a self spin from the 56, as that initial wreck that we saw drivers piling in the wall actually kept it all straight.
Yeah, they all did keep it straight there somehow, and just major hits into the wall there for the 2 of Borbell and the 20 of Christensen. So crazy racing continuing on, and now we're up to 18, and if I'm not mistaken, maybe even 19 there. So, sorry, 18 now. So I got to see a better look at that there. But yeah, man, it's possible still to get to that number of 21, just due to the fact that we have a ton of chances for green-white checkers.
Yeah, if we get to that of 19 before overtime attempts, then the chance of tying is there. If we get to 20 before overtime attempts, then there's a high chance of us breaking that record. As everyone is going crazy, a reminder, there is $100 on the line for the winner, Adam Buzzio, as well, trying to continue on a crazy spree that we've been seeing here, Zach. 2023 seems to be the year of new winners. We've seen a lot here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting of drivers that have been veterans of series looking for their first win and getting it done. Adam Buzzio, one of those, is trying to get to victory lane. I mean, he got to the championship race based off consistency. Could he continue our streak that we've been seeing here this year?
Very well could, man. It seems like that's been the way it's been going for us for our first part of the year at Freaky Fest. We've been seeing a lot of breakthrough victories, and that's always so cool to see. So if Buzzio can go out here, pull this off, I'm gonna be very happy for that driver, because he's, like I like to bring up, last season, best average finish of any driver last season, and he was so consistent. He didn't get the victories, but he was just so consistent, and consistency sometimes just doesn't get rewarded enough in some of these playoff formats, in my opinion. So, great job by Buzzio last season, but here could be his time to finally break through.
Trying to find his way to break through here tonight, as our biggest mover so far going to be Gregory Shaw in 8th place for the 51 machine, as that driver hoping to maybe crack the top 10. He has been very aggressive here, as it's 13 laps to go. Well, Zach, 13 to go. We're trying to settle in for this final push. We've had that of 18 cautions. It's been a long one. If you're just joining us, a lot of wrecks. It feels like it comes out every 3 to 4 laps when we go back to green flag racing, sometimes even sooner than that. It has been a long night. We've raced over that of 149 laps. As the drivers still waiting for the lights to click off for us to get back to green flag racing. And for us up at the booth, it certainly is it's a pleasure to be up giving the call. And for us, we're trying our best to give out the best coverage we can. And for you viewers out there, if you want to help donate and help us in any way, well, I shouldn't say donate, best way to support us is by getting merch from us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we have gotten our own merch line. We've been trying to promote it. We've got hoodies, t-shirts, and plenty of different colors and sizes. And Zach, I gotta say, I know I've got a t-shirt myself. It is comfy, it is cozy, and it's certainly a great wear every day.
Yeah, same here, Sam. They're very, very nice quality. So definitely folks need to go check that out and get part of the Freaky Fast family there and get yourself some Freaky Fast merch. So check them on out and trust us, you won't be disappointed. But here we go. Pace car lights are out. It's going to be another restart here as we're going to be coming to 10 laps to go when we take this green flag here. This is where it all ramps up. I mean, it's been ramped up since the drop of the green flag at the beginning of this race. But in my opinion, it's going to ramp up even more. You're going to see drivers getting maybe a little bit desperate here, trying to make some big moves. I'm interested to see what Blaze Crawford can do there in fourth. He's been so fast all night. Oh, no, we're having an issue for one of the drivers. It may have to hold this restart back because it's Christensen in the 20, but he's going to get back going and try to catch up. Oh, this is going to be a mess.
It's an EOL for that of the 20 machine, it looks to be, as they are deeming him the incident, and we'll have to go to the end of the line is that of Nigel Christensen. So it looks like we won't have to restart it. He gets back up rolling, but certainly a quick scare there was, as that was kind of a late EOL penalty given out as pace car goes in. Here we go. It's 10 laps to go here in New Hampshire as we're back to green flag racing.
Another great start from Adam Buzzio. We said that now probably 15 times in a row here, but he's done it every single time. But here it comes. Going to be Gavin Rogers sliding down in front of the 18. Can the 18 hold back the 76? He does clear that 76, but here comes Crawford looking to the inside. This is going to be for the big move. Cedric Hunter in the background. He's trying to get to the outside of Crawford as he tries to go around Ryan Thomas.
Going to be side by side for that of Blaze Crawford, trying to get by that of Blaine Wilson for third place. Cedric Hunter's trying to figure out a way to get moving forward. Gavin Rogers really has not shown any presence to go after Adam Buzzio, but another quick caution comes out. It's Chad Bean stuck on the front stretch.
Yeah, being there on that front stretch, like you said there, Sam, and that's going to bring out another yellow here, 19th of the 9th, and we do have a chance to possibly get to that 21 mark. So there's chances still out there to break records, folks, and we might see it happen here live right in front of your faces. So it's, you know, it's like I said, one of those times where I feel like desperation is starting to kick in, and moves are going to be bigger and bigger all over the racetrack. And I believe Christensen, who was just given that EOL for the last wreck, yeah, he might have been involved in that one too there with the 9.
Yeah, trying some big moves. But I mean, Zach, putting a point on this, drivers in iRacing, when there is money on the line, it kind of can, you know, put a switch on where drivers are just, they sometimes drive over their skill level. I think that could be what we're starting to see as well here tonight. It's a difficult track. Drivers wanting to get up front because they know if they win, they get $100. I mean, those could be the new factors that we're starting to see drivers reacting for, especially in the fact that you got some fast drivers still stuck in the middle of the field. I'm looking at 12th place, Alex Coffey. He certainly is going to be one of those drivers who's going to be aggressive to get up front every single time.
You said it best, Sam. When you put money on the table for iRacers, it does usually tend to be like this. It usually tends to be just a situation where drivers just seem to want to go for every little thing, but it's just not been, you know, the smartest decisions to make. Especially, you know, I can understand going for those things when you're up to the front, but it's definitely, you know, hard when you're back farther in this group.
As it's going to be over the radio, expecting to hear a confirmation on who's going to get an EOL. Sounds like Nigel could be given the EOL. It also looks to be a racing incident deal, as no penalty officially given out to the 20. As 7 laps to go, and with the driver set and where they're at, Adam Buzzio, Gavin Rogers, Blaine Wilson, Blaze Crawford in 4th, Cedric Hunter in 5th. These, I would say out of all the ones that are up front, it's probably Blaine Wilson that's the one that's kind of shocking to see up here. And the main reason why, Zach, I feel like you talk about every week, Adam Buzzio is always here at the end of races. Leading is where it's kind of looking a little bit odd.
You're completely right, because he's been here so many times. He's always seems to show up late in the races, and that's been like his kind of a MO for late race, you know, moves and really being consistent throughout the race. But you know, he's gotta hold it together here. He's got the lead now. He's in perfect position to win this race. And you know, I brought up, you know, earlier, I felt like this was just the best strategy to keep staying out like this. The only thing that does concern me, this is the only thing, because if we do start to go into some overtimes and extra times, we could do 70 laps under green flag conditions. We are now 74 laps into the run for Adam Buzzio. I think with the cautions we've had, he's got plenty of fuel. I mean, you save a ton of fuel here riding around under these caution laps compared to at full speed. So I think he does have a buffer zone, but I would start to get a little nervous if we got to that third green-white checkered. So we'll see how that works out. But for him, I think he's hoping this race ends a little bit sooner and he ends up in victory lane for that first time.
Updates for drivers deeper in the field. It's going to be that of Nigel Christensen. He was given a penalty for that most recent incident. That of Christopher Norris under pacing Zach. This has been a story these last couple of races for the 38 of having issues with his VR system. Seems to be more technical issues as he is towed that 38 into pit road after letting the car naturally just drift up to the outside wall and get out of the way.
Tough deal there to have some technical issues here in this race, especially where attrition is available for these drivers to make some of these spots up and maybe go forward. But it all ends like that in a quick burst of their technical difficulties. So we'll see how this works out. We're going to have 4 laps to go here, 4 miles possibly of racing before this race comes to the end. Can Adam Buzzio just hang on? That's going to be the huge question. Can he bring it home for that first time victory?
We got 4 miles officially under regulation, but we do have overtime if needed. So if a quick caution comes out before the white flag, we will head to overtime as Adam Buzzio, Gavin Rogers up front, ready for action. As they also have stage 1 winner of going to be Blaze Crawford and also stage 2 winner of Cedric Hunter ready to roll as they head down into turn number 1. Gavin Rogers, what a launch for himself, and here comes Crawford and the rest of the field.
Oh, big moves being made. Cedric Hunter 3 wide on the bottom. He gets loose. He's falling back, but it was Adam Buzzio who was side by side with Rogers through 1 and 2, able to clear him. But here comes Crawford, the fastest car pretty much all night long. He's going to roll this inside lane. Can Rogers hold him back here? I don't think he will. Those tires are starting to show up, and here comes Crawford in a late dash move. We're coming to 3 to go here. Can he get to the lead?
As he makes an easy pass for first, a late block from Buzzio, and Buzzio gets slowed up, and a yellow flag comes out. But was Crawford leading, or was Rogers leading as they're wrecking from the front stretch into turn 1?
Oh man, big moves, and they are just yellows that came out in the back right there. And I think Rogers is going to be the leader. Buzzio is going to be second, and I think this is going to put Crawford in third. So wild scenes here, and we're going to get overtime and possibly a 21st caution. As Buzzio's bringing it to pit road for him. Does he have a required damage flag?
He got a meatball. He got sent up to the wall and made contact with the outside wall, and that's going to give him a meatball flag. He has forced to pit road.
And that is going to bring it into a possible win here tonight for him. Tough break. Can Rogers break through for his first win this season? He's going to restart with the lead. Blaine Wilson in second, Crawford in third. This is going to be crazy stuff. Or is Crawford in the lead? I mean, he's just driven to the lead there. So what is going on?
Drivers are upset over the radio and believe that Blaze Crawford did have the lead. He takes it, and this is looking like a sealed letter at this point here, Zach. I mean, Blaze Crawford has been the driver to watch out for. We talked about at the top of the race. This man has over a 5,000 iRating plus advantage over the next closest driver. He is certainly the one to watch out for here tonight when it comes to the complete competitiveness. It seemed like he was toying and seeing what it was like in the back half of the field, then decided, all right, it's time for me to get up front. And that's exactly where he is now as we are entering overtime.
That we are, man, entering overtime here, and tough calls being made all around. I know a lot of upset drivers, so this is going to be one of those nights where it's very, very tough. As Adam Buzzio there coming out a pit road. It looks like he's going to be in the grass. I don't know uncertainly what he's doing there.
I think he's trying to get onto the asphalt, and then he'll have control. He didn't want to just throw it back up on the racing surface. Maybe he's now going to get back up on track as we keep our camera here up front. Because, Zach, overtime, they're going to have 3 attempts if needed. This first attempt, it's going to be a green-white checkered, meaning we only got 2 laps once we go green. This first lap, if we get a yellow under those conditions, we will go into attempt number 2. But if we get to the white flag, this race will become official. Any wreck, any bump will solidify and will be counting for this race to go to the end. But that yellow flag on the first lap, Zach, it's almost inevitable when we look at how the drivers have been racing.
That is, Sam, I tell you, it's going to be wild all the way down to the finish here. I don't really know what to expect, but we could see some fireworks fly. Does the 77, go for a shot on the 76, because that's going to be probably his only shot. The tire difference is just so huge that you're going to have to hope that 76 makes a huge mistake here to give you a chance. Or do we get an immediate caution that brings them right back to another overtime attempt? I mean, there's so many different available things, but Blaze Crawford at EOL.
Blaze Crawford's going sent to the back end of the line penalty as Rev, deciding it is time to penalize a driver. Again, it's based off of what the admins believe. They believe that move that Blaze made to try to go for the lead, a small little tap, is going to send the driver all the way to the end of the line. And what's even crazier about this here, Zach, that wasn't even what brought out the yellow. That's just penalizing a fast driver.
That's exactly what I was about to say, Sam. That wasn't even the yellow, so interesting call there, this decision made by those drivers, and now it's going to put him back there with Adam Buzzio. So
it should have been Dakota Camper that got the penalty. He was the one that brought out the yellow. He's the one who should have gotten penalized. They're penalizing a driver for no reason. A bad call in my opinion, but it's what's got to stay. Gavin Rogers, Blaine Wilson, Ryan Thomas, TJ Roberts, your top fours. We're heading into overtime attempt number 1. We've got 3 if needed. It's been a long race. We're at 20 cautions. If we get another one, we're tied with the record books. And we'll see, will it be 1 attempt or will we need some more? As drivers are not happy with the call. It doesn't matter, it's already been made. Pace car lights are off. It's time for us to go to overtime racing here tonight for the Wicked Racing League. It's the Idea Lease 200, and we're back to Green Flag Racing.
Great start by Gavin Rogers here. Looks like it's going to be his chance to get that first victory of the season. Just shot out of a cannon here as they head down to 1, but it's going to be the 3 of TJ Roberts taking it 3 wide, way up the racetrack, and he's going to be 3 wide now with Cedric Hunter and Gregory Shaw, but here they come down the back straightaway. It's all spreading out as they're 3 wide.
And it's the 77 completely gone. He wants to see the white flag, but if a caution happens beforehand, then we'll go into overtime attempt number 2. Drivers are using one another, and caution flag is out. We are going to overtime attempt number 2, and it's Chad Bean spun around.
Oh man, it's just stacking up. Here is the tie. We got the tie, Sam, so we're now at 21, and can we see a 22nd? That will be the huge question. This night is just turned upside down, and again, I'm still questioning that call being made to give Blaze Crawford EOL. I know he made contact with Adam Buzzio, but I don't even know what decision to make on this. But it's one of those things, like you said, it's a done deal already, and the drivers are going to have to talk about it themselves, and that's for them to worry about.
And what makes it even worse is the fact that Blaze was caught up in this most recent wreck. He got clipped, sent into the outside wall. And he's going to have to deal with even more issues for himself as, man, what a night. Obviously, we talked about the fatigue for the drivers. Might be a little bit of fatigue for race control as well here tonight as the drivers stacked up. We're going to overtime attempt number 2. And Zach, that means we've only got 1 more caution left for the night. Potentially 2 if we get that on attempt number 3. But we are now tied with the most cautions ever in Wicked history. Can we break the record on this second attempt at overtime as Gavin Rogers, Ryan Thomas, Blaine Wilson, Cedric Hunter got to be our top 4?
This is very possible we break that record, man. I mean, why not now that we've already got there? We might as well just get there, I guess, and see if we can make it that much more interesting because it's been up in the air all night long. I mean, for whatever reason, this has just been a tough deal for these drivers. I know it's tough to drive out there, but a lot of these incidents have been due to contact, not even just, mistakes. A lot of times it's just been over-aggressiveness, just making contact, trying to make things happen when they probably would never happen if you just wait a little bit. So, yeah, it's head-scratching, and I tell you, I'm glad I'm up in the booth because I don't have to worry about the frustration that a lot of these drivers are probably going through.
Well, we've already tied the record books for cautions. Hey, why not share this link, share the stream? We've got ourselves one, maybe two more restarts to go. Maybe let's crush some records in the viewership as these drivers are set to get the finale of this race. The opportune chance to lock yourself into the playoffs for some trying to get their first win ever in Wicked history. And for Gavin Rogers, he's trying to get his first win of the season and continue to grow his most wins in the league history. He's got 8 last season, trying to get his first for season 2. As the lights are still on, we're going to be taking at least one more pace around. But Zach, it's been a long one, 21 cautions. Officially, they've ran that coming up to 167 laps. But it's coming down to just a few more attempts.
Few more attempts possible. Still 2 available to us here as should be getting those lights out on the race car now, the pace car here, as I'm even feeling a little bit of mental fatigue from all this going on. So yeah, we'll see. Can we break that record? I mean, at this point, you know, it's definitely possible. So I think that's going to be the thing we're looking for here coming down to the end. And can Gavin Rogers get his first win of the season? I mean, it's been an up and down season for him. He's had some great runs so close so many times already in this short part of the season. Just hasn't got that victory yet, and this could come in a very interesting fashion.
We can see more wrecks sit up front. We've seen this before. You look back to a track that also had a lot of tough drivers trying to survive the best that they could. Gateway last season. Zach, we saw it last corner. Drivers attacking, willing to do anything for a win. Could tonight bring out a little bit of magic like it did last season? Gavin Rogers, Ryan Thomas, Blaine Wilson, Cedric Hunter. That of also going to be seeing Gregory Shaw, T.J. Roberts, Alex Coffey, Brandon Zimmerman's up in the top 10. Alex Lights back in the top 10. Michael and Mitty is up inside of the top 10. And we're trying attempt number 2 in overtime. We're green once again in New Hampshire.
Great start by Rogers there, but it's going to be the 40 of Thomas. He's got the 31 all over the back bumper here, heading down into turn number 1. Let's see what can happen here as Blaine Wilson's going to be fighting hard on that inside line, trying to hold position. Can they get to the white flag and hold off? But there's contact between the top 2 as they head down the back straightaway.
Down into the back straightaway, they come into turn number 3. We're staying green for now. A lot of smoke further in the field, but drivers side by side bumping off of one another. At a turn number 4, Gavin Rogers is looking for the white flag. It's there. They're wrecking. They're sliding. White flag is in the air. It's the freaky fast white flag. Gavin Rogers over a half a second ahead. It's a big enough gap to hold on. It's all about second place at the time, as it's going to be seen that of Blaine Wilson. Ryan Thomas holding steady, but they're going to be seeing Blaine Wilson up to second place, but Gavin Rogers entering turn number 3, the 77. He got bounced to the back half of the field. He then climbed his way forward, settled into second place for the majority of this race. Will now give him the win here in New Hampshire.
What a drive there from Gavin under interesting circumstances. He gets that first win of the season. Blaine Wilson bringing it home second, and it's going to be third to Cedric Hunter. There is what a crazy end. I don't know who just took down the wall back there. I believe it might have been old Blaze Crawford there. Maybe not the most happy after that race.
I would imagine not too happy at all for that Blaze Crawford, especially on the fact that he got penalized and gifted Gavin Rogers the win there. I mean, it was bowed up, packaged, and sent for Gavin Rogers to be up front. All he needed was great restarts. He got them. And the 77 back to victory lane for himself in race number 4 of this season.
What a wild race here, man. I think we're going to come out of this race with a lot of upset drivers, a lot of upset just overall feelings from this. And they better bottle them up and get ready because, man, it is Bristol coming up next week where them frustrations can lead to big incidents also.
And how many drivers actually will be racing next week? We'll have to wait and see. But for tonight, we're not done just yet. We've got ourselves the post-race show. We're going to be talking to 3 drivers, or top 2, and a spotlight driver to get their thoughts. The fireworks might not be done, so stay with us as we can take a quick break. We'll be back in just a few moments. Huge thanks, as you saw there, the game to gives that of the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. Again, our charity race going to be on that of February 11th. As if you would like to help with donating even now, you can easily in our chat. We've got a link to go do so as well. Got to give a big thanks to VGT Consulting on being one of the major sponsors here at that of Wicked Racing. As the drivers, hopefully they're settling in and taking a cool off time, because a lot of them are frustrated, they're mad, they're already being vocal. There's some that might be vocal in a happy way. As we come to Victory Lane, we got the 77 with us, Gavin Rogers. Gavin, welcome back to Victory Lane. This is your 9th Wicked win in your career, first this season 2, which means you're locked in the playoffs. How are you feeling after this one?
Exhausted and tired. To be honest, it was a tough race full of cautions, and God, it sucks to see Adam get taken out like that. I really think he had it, and yeah, it's a win. It's a win for sure. Glad to get myself locked in the playoffs. But yeah, I mean, I feel good with the speed that I have, and I mean, next week being Bristol is probably not one of my greatest tracks. You're not probably not gonna expect too much from me there. But I feel good.
Yeah, definitely a good way of surviving this race here in the 77 there, Gavin. So congrats first off on the win, man, there. But, take us through this race here tonight, because, with so many different cautions, how tough is it to stay in a rhythm?
It's tough, especially for me because my brake sensitivity or settings, whatever, something was messed up um, um, before this race. And yesterday it was a lot more sensitive, and today it wasn't very sensitive at all. So I was really having trouble to find a rhythm, and I was kind of just gonna try to take it easy, just try to figure it out throughout the race, and I sorted it, I guess. I was kind of lucky with all the cautions there, um, not really having to get in too much of a rhythm over a long run, other than the beginning of the race. But yeah, it was it was okay.
Gavin, they're late. I know it's going to be the biggest controversy of the whole entire night. We saw the Adam Buzzio and Blaze Crawford incident, but on the flip side, we saw that that wasn't even what caused the yellow. Usually, the driver getting an EOL is the driver that caused the yellow. What are your thoughts on the fact that Blaze got penalized for something he probably shouldn't have been penalized for?
I I don't want to have any words on it. I don't want to have anybody upset at me, so I'm just gonna leave that to everybody watching.
Well, we're heading from the difficult track here at New Hampshire. We're now heading to Bristol. What are your thoughts heading to a short track, especially after a chaotic night like this?
Yeah, like I said, it's not one of my best tracks for sure, but if I get enough practice to figure out a long run, it should be okay. I don't expect to be too far off pace by any means, but yeah, just practice the long runs like I always say.
Well, that is going to be Gavin Rogers getting back into victory lane and punching his ticket into the playoffs. Congratulations on that. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, first of all, I made a mistake and forgot to mention Buttkicker, my previous interview at Talladega, and want to give them a huge shout out. This Buttkicker that they sent me, Buttkicker Gamer Plus, it's amazing. It's the best addition to my rig by far. So I'm huge shout out to them. Shout out to all the admins and race control, everybody hanging on throughout this race. My whole family. Karting teammates Giovanni and David, all my fellow employees, and everybody watching. You guys as well. You guys do great with the Fiki Fast broadcast.
Well, thanks for giving us a great show to cover there, Gavin. It makes our job a lot easier. That's going to be the 77 of Gavin Rogers back to victory lane. Congratulations on that, and good luck next week.
Thank you, guys.
As we go from that as first place, we head to second place to get their thoughts on the driver that at one moment had to march his way through, caught up in an early wreck, but found himself in the top 3 at the end of the run. We got the 18 of Blaine Wilson with us. Blaine, I mean, we've been talking so much up here. There's been a lot of controversies going on, but man, kudos to you. Second place finish. How you feeling after that?
It is exhausting, just like Gavin was saying. It's tiring. Just a lot of pacing around. Unfortunate that had to go that way. But overall, still good to run with these people every week. It's a lot of fun.
Well, Blaine, I tell you, man, we talked to you there at that caution break, a couple, cautions before that ending. Take us through the last couple ones because it got very intense there between everybody up in that group. How were you able to manage to bring it home second?
After stage 2, I just decided I'm not pitting again, no matter what, with the pattern of cautions that continued to happen. And I knew towards the end of the race, people were just going to get more and more aggressive, and we were bound to have some more. And that really worked out. Just not pitting, staying out, and defending the bottom groove. Like I mentioned, I love that groove down there, and it worked out, actually. So very pleased that that happened.
And Blaine, we saw a lot of hard racing up front. You saw that of seeing Adam Buzzio leading this race for the majority of the second half of this run, and then caught up with that incident. I mean, you got moved up to second place after all that chaos. What were your thoughts on some of the penalties that came out there late?
My initial thought was, well, staying out just worked. I mean, it's the first thing I thought of. Everything's going as I kind of predicted. Wasn't expecting that, but at the same time, I kind of was. It seems it's just the way racing is. You never know what's going to happen at any moment, and this time around, it worked in our favor. It was awesome.
Well, Blaine, we're also heading to another short track. It just seems like the chaos might build over to that. We're heading to the last great Coliseum of Bristol. What are your thoughts setting that course for you personally?
Not the best track for me. I'm not very good there. We'll definitely go in with a similar mindset of survival. We did a recruitment race in the off season at Bristol, and we had a 100-lap green flag run with 25 plus cars in there. So I think we can do a lot better there. This week, I think, was just an outlier in terms of this league's capabilities. So I know we can do better.
Well, just to add on that, do you feel like the money aspect might have been something on the factor on why there was so much chaos here tonight?
You just reminded me that there was even money on this race. I totally forgot. Well, there definitely could be at that point. I didn't. Nobody mentioned it at all in the game chat or anything. So maybe everybody just forgot. But that the people that did remember, that could have definitely added to that pressure.
Certainly could have. Well, Blaine, before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, definitely want to thank teammate Nigel at 2018 Racing. He made us 2 beautiful paint schemes in the past week. They look awesome, and he's there practicing with me day in, day out. We're an excellent team, good teamwork that we have there, and everybody else in the league, and you guys for broadcasting this. You guys do an awesome job as well.
That is going to be the 18 machine of Blaine Wilson. Congratulations on second place, and good luck next week surviving Bristol.
Thank you.
As we go from that to second place, our spotlight driver going to be third place finisher. That is Cedric Hunter. Kind of had a very similar path of that of Blaze Crawford, but Blaze got sent to the back, the 13, able to come away with top 30 finish. Cedric, it's Sam and Zach of the booth. Man, how are you feeling after that one? Tying the record, the most cautions ever in Wicked history, and you come away with third.
I feel good, I guess. I mean, we came in tonight with just trying to go for the win, so kind of anything else didn't really matter too much. Obviously, it was a caution fest, and those aren't always fun. I think we would have been maybe in a better position if it went a lot more green, like if we would have seen a lot more green flag racing. But considering, everything that happened, I guess finishing third isn't too bad. So we'll take it, and we'll move on to Charlotte, I guess. I think it's next week. So.
Well, Cedric, like you said, you think green flag laps would have played out better for you there? I mean, you came down pit road and hit pit road, late in that race with about 30 to go. Take us through that decision there instead of staying out like majority of some of that got the drivers up front did.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just staying out would have been, like we saw, was really, really difficult to pass, especially in the top 5 when everything got single file after restarts. You had to work it, and I didn't feel like we had enough time in between those cautions for the guy in second to really make a run. So when I did pit, I guess like the only train of thought that came around was, I guess if I get back to 5th, then I break even, so it's whatever. And if I get better than that, then great. I can't really say, that maybe I would have won, maybe I would have been wrecked, or, anything I guess could have happened if I didn't pit, but I had to try something, and I I just don't think that that somebody as fast, I guess, as Gavin has been, especially when he was leading at the beginning of the race. He would have been super difficult to pass, and had to roll the dice and try something. So it didn't necessarily work. We didn't get the win, but third place ain't too bad.
It certainly isn't too bad. And Cedric, looking at the schedule, it looks like Bristol going to be the next race to go to. We heard from Blaine there was a race that happened during the off season, trying to do recruitment races, and I believe you were the one who found yourself in victory lane at that Bristol race. But what is your confidence level after the amount of wrecks that we've had throughout this season? The drivers kind of seem to be over aggressive at times. Do you feel like that over aggression could translate into next week?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we know like Bristol's very high speed, and obviously it's a short track, and really anything could happen. I mean, we could see 20 cautions easily next week. Hopefully, we don't. I think if we don't, if we limit ourselves to maybe like hypothetically like 5 cautions or something. Obviously, I feel like that's a big ask for Bristol, but if we can limit ourselves to 5 cautions, then I think I can come away with the win. I'm going to say pretty handedly, considering what happened in that recruitment race. I feel super confident going into there. Obviously, I kind of have the big question mark with Blaze Crawford joining the league just a couple of days ago, and obviously he was super fast tonight. So we'll see. I don't know what his speed's like at Bristol, but I've raced with the majority of the league there a couple weeks ago, and it went really well. So confidence level's high, but we have a big question mark still.
Certainly a lot of question marks to be grabbed, but another solid finish for yourself, Cedric, here tonight. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for putting up with tonight's shenanigans. 20 cautions is a lot, and hopefully we can clean it up going forward. But I want to give a huge shout out to everyone in Smoke Inc. As unfortunately, Stympian had to take care of his child and had to step away, even though he was, in my opinion, probably the fastest guy on the track tonight. And then Norris got problems with his VR where it blacked out and he couldn't get it to reset. So he had to unfortunately tow as well. And then, congrats, I guess, to our newer teammate, Brandon Zimmerman, for just surviving this race, man. Like that's just a feat in itself. So if I'm not mistaken, he got a top 10 finish. So congrats to him. Thanks to everybody that sets up these races and makes the racing possible. And all the fans out there for tuning in. I'm looking forward to Bristol, and everybody should probably, or that's out there right now, should probably tune in then. I think we'll put on a good show, or better than tonight at least.
It certainly should be a good one. The Last Great Coliseum, Bristol next week. Can't wait for it, as that's going to be the 31 of Cedric Hunter from Smoke Inc. Racing. Congratulations on a 3rd place finish, and good luck next week.
Thank you very much.
As we go from our 3 interviews, we head ourselves to that of our final results, unofficial results of the night. And these unofficials certainly are going to be a crazy one because of the fact that of everyone scattering through was a madhouse. I know all the drivers, there's still a flurry going through in the chat of where the drivers are at. Some frustrated with penalties, others frustrated with other drivers, but this is the way that they're going to line up unofficially here tonight. Your top 10 going to be Gavin Rogers, Blaine Wilson, Cedric Hunter. Your top 3 with Ryan Thomas, a great finish for the 40 machine. Alex Coffey somehow surging up to 5th place. Great finish for the 7. Gregory Shaw is going to get 6th. That of Brandon Zimmerman up to 7th. We saw him have to use a fast repair, caught up in some pretty nasty wrecks. TJ Roberts gets an 8th place finish. Alexander Light somehow gets 9th. Same for that of Carl Pooler. And Zach and the rest of the field, a lot of disappointment on the fact that they had to use up so many fast repairs.
Yeah, lots of disappointment through the field, my friend. It was a wild night, questionable things all around from every single person out there involved with this race here tonight. So definitely something they're going to have to work on throughout the week here, heading up back to Bristol. So I'm interested to see how that plays out, especially after this, because like I said, frustrations can lead over to Bristol, and that's a place where frustrations can get easily taken out on your other competition. And if you have that happen, we might have a similar situation to what we had here tonight.
Yeah, we certainly don't want to see that bleeding over into more and more weeks. We'll see if the drivers can calm down and get some of their frustrations heard and released. But for tonight, 21 cautions, tying the record books of the most cautions ever in Wicked Racing League. And Gavin Rogers, the driver who's leading the record books in wins, continues to build up that streak. Some drivers frustrated, mad. And Zach, any final thoughts before we call it a night?
Well, man, definitely can understand some frustrations out there. It's definitely going to be one that's talked about, I think, for the whole entire week for this group. So they're going to have to figure out what they got going on for sure for the Bristol race coming up. But we'll have to just gear up for that, get ready to go on, and have the rest of the season on the table for us, because New Hampshire was a giant mountain in the bumpy road that we have here right in front of us. Let's see if they can conquer Bristol without as much trouble.
Well, if you want to see what we're hoping might be a little bit more clean and green racing, tomorrow night, it's the Stars and Stripes series. They're going to be running the ARCA cars at that of Homestead. Multi-Groove Racing. It should be a blast to cover here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Other series that we cover, Monday night ISRC Truck Series. They've got Monday off. Then it's going to be full send on Tuesday, as they're going to be driving the trucks on that day. Wicked right back here for Bristol next week. Plenty of great racing action. Thank you for joining us on your Wednesday night. I know it's been a long one for those that have stuck around this whole entire time. Thank you for joining us. And we'll see you on our next broadcast. That is tomorrow night. For myself, Sam Dyer, for that, Zach Hall, Robert Moyer Jr. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow for the Stars and Stripes ARCA series.